Vast and ahoy once again to ye mateys! I be your freshly rehomed and flea-treated Josh the Pirate, and it brings me more satisfaction than if I had just summited a decent-sized mountain to welcome ye back once again to Corsair's Cove, and to our brand new season in my original homebrew world, Telos. With me, I have me lovely wife, the Mother of Bunnies. Karen, who the heck are you?
Apart from your lovely voice, I assume.
Except from that. That's not your whole identity, and I never would claim that it was.
I need to remind myself that I'm not just a wife. I'm a whole actualized human being. Hard to remember. Excuse me.
Don't die.
Yes, I am a writer, a performer. I also appear on the podcast There Be Dragons, which should have a new episode dropping soon for the first time in a few months, because we've all been very, very busy.
Yes.
So you should check that out. There is a link in chat. And I don't have much else going on at the moment, which is actually lovely, because I've been so busy.
Yes.
With so many things. And now I get to wake up and I'm like, I don't have anything like crazy urgent to achieve today. And it's just such a refreshing feeling.
Yes. And mesdames et messieurs, dames und herren, and beings of indeterminate gender and persuasion, I be Josh the Pirate, your humble DM and storyteller for this evening. Just for the first couple of episodes, then we might change things up a little bit. But for tonight, I will be the DM, taking you through my very first world I ever created. And I did it sort of on the fly. I built a small village that they were in initially, and then things expanded as they began to explore the world. So yeah, it was very organic and kind of fun, and I only named it today. This is Telos.
So weird.
And it's a game that Karen played in, and along with my mum and dad and my little brothers. It was pretty adorable, and then we expanded the cast out to quite a lot of people, actually. The cast all wound up being about 10 or 12 people were in it at one point or another. Never more than 6 at once, though. And yeah, I'm a D&D player on the internet webs. You can find me on Roll for Damage. Sometimes you can find me next Monday. In fact, you can find me on Phoenix Wacky next Friday evening. And you can find me here on Corsair's Cove, where I play a lot of games, because it's my channel with my good lady. And yeah, it's kind of what we do. I tell you what else we do, though, because it's a new thing for a new year. Karen and I have had a pretty shitty start to 2022. But we're all good now, and things are getting sorted, so don't stress about us. However, our travails pale in comparison to the troubles other people are going through. So we've decided to do what we can, namely encouraging people to support the Ukrainian people, who are having it rougher than we have. The Emergency Action Alliance is a group of charities that have set aside their differences to help those in need, and their Ukraine emergency appeal has already raised over $1 million, which is pretty cool. Which the Australian government, in an unexpected move of generosity, to be honest, has promised to a further $2 million too, as well. If you have anything to spare in the coffers for the Ukrainian people, they need all the help that we can send them. The link to those no, it was Ukraine.
And just far be it for me to talk smack about the Australian government, but I'll believe they're giving them $2 million when they actually do it.
Oof.
They love telling us that they're going to do something, and then they don't actually do it. It's very frustrating. So hopefully they will donate the $2 million. But, you know.
So it could be even more urgent than necessary than we thought.
Yeah, because the Australian government is all talk, no action at the moment, and there's an election in like a month, and I cannot wait.
Karen is opinions. Karen has them. Karen, can you tell our lovely audience what we're going to be doing tonight?
Well, I'll certainly give it a red hot go. So,
I'm
for
just
the
going to get
now...
a beverage quickly. So you...
Oh, I'm being abandoned to
just
the
a second,
viewers.
Just a second.
Okay. So, for tonight, Josh will be the DM, and I will be the one and only player who will be guided through this world. For now, we are going to switch things up in the near future, and see how I go on the other side of the DM screen, so to speak. So we have created a character together. If you were tuned in last night, we actually did it on stream for funsies. So her name is Beryl Ingotfury. I had to think about that. Beryl Ingotfury. She is a dwarven bard, a former watch officer who got disillusioned with the life of law enforcement and decided to follow her musical interests, which has taken her to the small dukedom of Gretz, where we will be beginning our adventure.
Yes.
And hopefully hers, because she is by herself, so there is a chance we'll kill her really quickly.
Yes, beginning and end in one a day.
Hey, new character every week. Mission
gosh.
is to kill him in 2 hours or less.
That's a different game. Very different tone. All right. Well, I must also remind our handsome, elegant, and most likely well-dressed audience to please like, follow, and subscribe to all the things, you bloody champions. We have all the socials. And you can check out episodes you missed on YouTube. Other games and one-shots, they're all up there. YouTube. There is that as well. There we go. Marvellous. Well, mateys, may your stats all be above 10, and all your weapons have interesting features as we head for the very first time on stream, tremulously at first, and then with mounting heat and passion, to Gretz. So let us have a little bit of...
Begin.
Let us begin. That's Dread's thing, not mine. I don't say let us begin. All right.
Let's quest!
And
I haven't done that one for a while.
That's Dan Harmon. Alrighty. The Dutchy of Gretz is an ancient and venerable institution in the autocracy of Rennes, a few days' walk southwest of the capital, Alfheim. It sits in a lightly forested area in the foothills of the Menashe Mountains, and from this vantage guards the southern border of the realm. The Dukes of Gretz are famous for several qualities: benevolence, martial excellence, and a distressing tendency towards pronounced mental instability. The current incumbent, Duke Falgor Nikolai Caspar von Dietrich de Britzi Hilt Rutgar, which most people just shorten to Rutgar because it's very long, displays all three in abundance. So much so that he is currently benevolently off, as he puts it, daring doing, with a great degree of martial excellence and no small amount of instability, and has benevolently left the duchy to the governance of his nephew Thorvald. Interestingly, this was apparently Thorvald's idea. Rennes is a forward-thinking nation full of new ideas, new ways of doing things, impressive developments, and vigorous prosperity. Gretz, however, as in many ways, bucks the curve a bit. The society is a feudal arrangement, with the lords and commoners alike being deeply suspicious of change. The common saying in Gretz is, if it was good enough for my great-grandfather, then I ought to be able to survive it as well. The notable exception is a small but thriving middle class of merchants who, by their very nature, get about, and have been able to capitalize on this lack of knowledge of the wider nation by buying from the poor and selling to the rich, normally with the added step of lying to them about where things came from. So, it is into this world we plunge. Beryl, you are newly arrived in town, having received an invitation to play at the home of a local merchant, for the considerable sum of 50 gold pieces, which is a fair old whack of cash for a travelling bard. The trip was a little quicker than you expected, and you have arrived about an hour before the allotted time of your meeting. It is early morning. You rode in by carriage, so you were able to sleep through the night. The carriage kept on going and dropped you off probably about 9. The town is already in full swing. Farmers are trudging their way out to the fields, bakers are stoking their ovens, and a blacksmith is stolidly smashing away at something with his hammer. What do you do?
Well, given it is first thing in the morning, and I've travelled a long way, I feel like some sort of breakfast is in order. Since, there is no guarantee that food will be proffered at this meeting I'm going to. So maybe a light breakfast. So I'm going to breathe in deeply through my nose and see if I can sniff out something good smelling.
Okay,
I'll heft my dulcimer onto my shoulder and take a deep breath in through my nose.
Very well. Your dwarven nose, your dwarven nostrils flare. What do passers-by, average Gretzian peasant, on the street see as your dwarven nostrils flare, and you make a perception roll.
Well, disclaimer. It turns out Beryl's slightly inspired by Dolly Parton. We didn't see that one coming, but it kind of happened, and I'm rolling with it. So she's a lovely curvaceous lady. She's only 5 foot and a bit of change, with curly blonde hair and hazel eyes. I was trying to find perception. There we go. Ooh, 15 to find myself some delicious breakfast.
Love it. Yeah, all right, 15. So, Beryl, your finely tuned nasal cavities identify a lot of scents. Not a lot of them are actually particularly pleasant. This is Gretz, where the streets are paved in mud. It's a feudal castle town, so there is not a huge amount of sanitation.
So you're telling me I can smell shit?
You can
not
smell
breakfast.
quite a bit of poop, but layered on top of the, or maybe underneath, hopefully on top of the various scents of bodily waste, you can smell fresh baked bread, and freshly cooked chicken, coming both from the sort of market square up ahead. There is also you walk past an inn. It looks pretty looks like a pretty low end establishment in your experience. It's the sort of place that you would go if you want to have a fight, and maybe a drink, not the other way around. It rejoices in the name the Sackcloth and Bagel.
Okay, interesting. Is this where the smell is coming from?
No, the smell is coming from almost everywhere. There is no particular location where people dump their refuse.
I was speaking more of the bread and chicken smell rather than the smell of shit.
Yeah, the smell of shit is pretty universal. The smell of bread and chicken comes from the market a little bit further up, but it's an inn. You could probably get breakfast in there that's actually cooked, like an actual breakfast. But if you want just something to nibble on, fresh baked bread, there'd probably be cheese up there, but cheese isn't hugely odorous, unless it's a different kind of cheese.
Look, we're in a new town. I'm feeling relatively curious, so I think I will continue to the markets and see what's going on up there.
Okay. You proceed up towards the markets. It's not the busiest or largest market you've seen. It's a big square, but it's not particularly crowded. There is maybe a dozen carts. However, some of the market is actually they're permanent shops, not stalls. There is a baker, there is a smith, that both have actual permanent lodgings there. There are several trading houses where traders, merchants, they sort of do they have normally it's a house, and then they have a window to one side that you can do business out of, and people can come and have a chat with them through the window sort of situation, which is traditionally the way it used to be done in Tudor era England as well. There you go. I learned this at Shakespeare's house. There is a couple of people who do clothing. But there are a few stalls. Several of them are knickknacks. One of them is fresh vegetables, fresh off the farm. It's actually some of the cleanest looking stuff. In fact, as you pass your eyes over it, you think, gosh, those are killed this morning sort of vegetables, or plucked. Killed? You kill them as you pluck them up, I suppose. But yeah.
Screams of the dying vegetables.
Oh, we've been raided by Tales of Pesh. Tales of Pesh. Thank you so much for the raid. Raid. Throw your raid emotes up in chat. We have just begun, Tales of Pesh. Nicely done. Thank you so much for the raid. Guys, we are just beginning. This is our very, very first episode of a new season, and we're about 5 minutes into it. So, we'll recap. We got to Gretz. There you go. You're caught up.
And Beryl's gone looking for breakfast. Very important.
Yes, Beryl So this is 1v1 DMV player, and we are just experiencing a new world, my original homebrew world, for the very first time on stream.
And mad respect to the excellent Black Books quote, by the way.
I had to dab and lavender to milk, leave it with an orange, and pretend you're laughing at it. Exactly. Tales of Persia, that's exactly what's going on. That's what they're all writing it.
Yeah.
Bizarre. I really want to know what the hell was going on that prompted that. Alrighty, well, Beryl. There is
very calm. Being very calm.
Yes. You're wandering around with your dulcimer on your back. You see, fresh vegetables. There is a cart selling cheese and bread. This is a baker, but it's not the baker that's built in. This is somebody from up the road has brought their produce down, and is doing a fairly swift trade in sort of pastry twists that have been twisted around strips of bacon and cheese and sort of melted in the oven. And it was sort of a bacon and cheese twist. Would be the most interesting thing on that cart, I would imagine.
Beryl needs to go no further. Beryl loves a bacon and cheese twist of an early morning in a shiny new town, so she'll hop in the queue and procure herself.
It does not... you are in a queue for less than a minute before a ruddy-faced woman proffers you a bacon and cheese twist wrapped in... it's like a rag. It's not a piece of paper, but it's a clean rag, so you don't get your fingers greasy. She assesses that you're a lady of some class, and like most of them, she wasn't wrapping them. She was just like, "There you go." But with you, she was like, "Here you are, ma'am," and kindly accepts 2 silver pieces for the snack.
Excellent. Well, I'll nibble on it by wandering around the market and, just seeing if anything catches my eye. Is there anything like particularly colourful clothing items, perhaps?
You could roll an investigation or a perception, whichever you favour.
That is a non-natural 20 investigation.
No, it isn't. It's an 18. It's 14 plus 4.
Oh, God, sorry.
It's a non-natural 18.
It's a non-natural 18. I got too excited there. I was like,
Alrighty.
it's plus 2. I forgot that it does it for me.
Yes, 18, because it's plus 4. And 18 is pretty good. Alrighty, there's a little old lady selling wildflowers, like posies of wildflowers that she and looks like her grandson have gathered. And they're all quite nice, quite neatly bound in. They're actually tied up with the stems of another wildflower, which is rather cute. She also has a couple of knickknacks on the stall as well. It looks like she's just selling whatever odds and ends happen across her path that she reckons she could turn for a profit. There is a small statuette of an ox made of bronze. A simple but functional wooden flute that her grandson is making another. He makes them out of reeds, and he's got a knife. He's probably about 12, and he's tooling them out with his with a pocket knife, and he's carving them by hand. But he's got it's simple, but it's like he's done like chevrons on it to give it a little bit of flair, a little bit of interesting. He looks to be about halfway through making another one. There is also a white sequined glove, sized single one. It is the right hand, sized for a human man or a slender dwarven woman.
I see where you're going with this.
I rolled that on the table, and it's specified human man. But a dwarven woman, a slender dwarven woman, would have similar sized hands.
Noted. Well, I think I shall go up and be like, "Good morning."
Oh, hello there, ma'am. Can I interest you in a beautiful posy of flowers? For a beautiful lady like yourself.
I don't suppose you know how to make it into a little wreath so one could wear it?
Oh, certainly. I'm going southern. Well, yes, I certainly could go. I could certainly do that for you, Mom. If you give me a few moments. It'd probably take her about 5 minutes to sort of weave a wreath for you. But yeah, she'll happily do that for you for an extra silver.
Excellent. And I'll turn to her while she's doing that. I'll talk to the grandson who's whittling the flute.
Very well. Yes.
And be like, "Do you like music, young man?"
He's like, "Oh yes, ma'am. I love music." And he gives an experimental toot on the flute. And you can tell your training is very, like, it's not ready yet. 2 of the notes he plays are correct, but other than that, the rest of it needs tuning more. And you can see him blowing, and he's like, "Well, yeah, no, that one works. Oh, yeah, okay, yep, good. Oh no, that one's dodgy. And he drills out the hole a little bit more.
I was wondering, I only just arrived in town. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about it.
About the town, miss? Oh, well, Gretz has been around forever, I think. Very noble history. The lords here, our dukes, sirs, they're very, very kind to us. They take good care of us. Very proud history of serving wrens. We provide many soldiers, and also there's some great farming around here. We also make some of the best cider in the land.
Well, that's certainly good to hear. I love a lovely cup of cider.
Otherwise, I don't know what really to tell you, miss. We don't have any great thinkers or learners here. Though there's some good music most of the time. My dad does some really good music.
And what type of instrument does your dad play?
Why, the flute, miss. That's where I learned.
Ah. And I'll point to the flute that's finished and be like, "Do you mind?"
Oh, please try it out.
Cool. I'll pick it up and I'll just play a quick little country tune on it to see how it sounds.
Roll me a performance check, I think. With advantage, because you are proficient with these things.
That would be an 18.
Nice. Yeah, alrighty. Yeah, the kid is mildly impressed. He's like, "Wow, you might be even better than my dad. Ain't she good, Gran?" And Granny turns around and says, "Oh yes, Jasper, she's very good, and gives you a golf clap.
What was the name of this guy who's hired me?
The gentleman's name was Winston Chubb, the merchant.
Or Winston Chubb?
Yes.
As in chubby?
Yeah. CHUBB.
Cool. Are we like, "I'm here to play for a man named, a merchant actually, named Winston Chubb. You wouldn't have happened to have heard of him, would you?"
"Oh yes, miss. Mr. Chubb, sir. He's very well known. Quite a rich man. Oh, what a pleasure it must be to play for him. He's got a very big house up the lane up there towards the castle. You'll know it immediately. You'll be able to spot it just on the floor. Haven't seen him around very lately though. About last week, he's gone all. Haven't seen him around for ages. Have you, Gran? He's often down in the market, but he hasn't been up for a while."
I stuck that interesting tidbit away for later. Is my flower crown finished yet?
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. I'll pop it on my head and kind of fluff my hair up and...
The little granny who's been referred to only as Gran goes, "Oh, lovely. That suits you right down to a T, my dear."
Oh, thank you. I think it'll go nicely with my nice clothes for tonight.
You pay her, it will be 3 silver pieces.
I'll pay her, and I'll flick the young man like a little copper piece or something.
Alrighty. Oh, thank you kindly, miss. Cool.
Thank you
do
both. All right. Is my meeting at the merchant's house, or
that. Yes.
am I...
Yeah.
Cool. And about how long until I'm expected there now?
40 minutes, 20 minutes. You can take your time, or you can wander up. Time can be fluid. It's worthy to note that the what's it called? The letter you received from Winston Chubb set the time for the meeting at 10 at his residence on the main high street. It's recognizable as the Chubb Trading House, but the letter expressed a keenness to meet you in person. That implied a sort of yes, really urgent, but, you can take your time. He set the meeting time for 10.
Right. Oh, well, a lady is never late, nor is she early, so I'll continue wandering around the market, keeping a wary eye on the time.
Alrighty, well, I'll let your investigation of 18 carry over, because there's a few other bits and pieces. There is a second stall run by a quite a clean-cut gentleman of middling years. He's wearing a waistcoat and sort of just below the knee breeches and stockings up to that. Sort of, he looks like he might have colonized America. Sort of that sort of era,
Cool.
And yes, he has
British genocidal chic.
A little bit, yeah. And he looks. He seems to be selling potion, magical reagents, and sort of things with which to cast spells. Now, of course, you're a bard, so you don't. A lot of your stuff doesn't require material components; it's musical based. But these are still interesting things, and amongst them are your training, your magical training, and your experience in your policeman's days, or your watchman's days, I suppose it would be. You are familiar enough with the normal array of material components for spellcasting that a few of these things stand out as what the fuck, including a sack of orc teeth.
Okay.
They are it's a sack of teeth that. They're labeled wyvern teeth, but you recognize them as orc teeth. As a watchman, you have definitely seen the occasional orc tooth on the floor of a bar after a heavy fight, and you actually speak orc, so I feel like you're familiar reasonably with orcs and their ways, and you would therefore know that orcs use teeth as currency. And that this sack of wyvern teeth, which is being discounted down to 2 silver coins, is probably worth, just from the look of the size of it, to an orc, and really only to an orc, this bag of teeth would be worth about 11 gold pieces. But only to an orc. Yeah. There is also a vial of dark purple fluid that purports to be dragon's blood. Now that's got a label saying 5 gold pieces on it, which is a fairly large amount for something that you're like, dragon's blood definitely has a use magically. But I don't know what it would be. And I don't think you'd be welcome to roll for it, but given that this guy, given your experience, you can maybe, I don't know, I'll let you call it from here on in. Basically, there is a vial of purple fluid that says dragon's blood on it.
I'm gonna catch the eye of the stall holder and be like, "Do you mind if I examine that more closely?"
Oh, and he says, yes, of course, miss.
And I'll pick it up and unstopper it and have a little.
Yes. I'm not even going to make you roll for it. It's maybe no. Can I get a nature check, please?
A 10.
That'll do it, because we've already mentioned lavender. That's what it smells of. This is lavender concentrate. It's maybe mixed with something else, but yeah, this is a lavender. It's definitely got lavender in it. And you can infer that probably dragon's blood doesn't smell of lavender.
Cool. I'll recork it and place it back down.
He says, something wrong?
Oh no, just didn't smell quite how I was expecting.
Oh, we often get that with dragons, you see. Would you be a wizard? Or magically trained yourself?
Oh, only a little, kind of with, sort of sparkly illusions to enhance my music, you understand.
Oh, I see. Yes. Well, and he redirects you to some of his more, his less esoteric wares, trying to direct your attention away from the dragon's blood. And he actually draws your attention to the teeth and says, now, wyvern's teeth, when ground down, make for an excellent glitter substitute. And can be sort of thrown in the air, and also tend to, with a minor cantrip, can immolate very cleanly. So if you're looking for something a little showy, powdered griffin's tooth.
I thought you said it was wyvern's teeth. You just said it was griffin's teeth.
That was actually Josh's mistake. He was. So sorry, I do apologise. Wyvern's teeth, yes. Griffin's teeth don't explode at all. They're very, very.
Not being 100% familiar with what orcs' teeth look like. Are they like shiny, or do they literally just look like teeth?
They look like teeth, maybe pointier, larger, pointier.
So it's safe to say that his claim that they make glitter is bollocks.
You can make a second, either nature or history, perhaps survival.
Survival to know the glittery properties of orcs' teeth. 11.
You wouldn't know. It maybe feels a bit like bollocks. Certainly given that he's claiming it's wyvern's teeth, but you know they're orc teeth. Powdered anything, probably, it could be flammable, but whether or not it explodes cleanly in a really awesome boof.
Yeah, I think this guy's...
Fair enough.
Do you find that other teeth contain the same properties as wyvern's teeth in terms of the sparkliness and the explodiness of them? Or is it a specific quality to these types of teeth?
I haven't experimented with a lot of different kinds of teeth, but wyvern's teeth, yes. Griffin's teeth, no, they're very mundane. I haven't managed to find enough dragon's teeth to grind down to have a go with it. Obviously, dragon's teeth are very expensive things. Be asking a lot more than 2 silver pieces for that. But wyvern's teeth, like wyverns are like sharks. I don't know if you know sharks. Fish, big fish. Their teeth, if they fall out, they just grow new ones. Wyverns are very similar. He seems to have the gift of the gab. He's not a bad salesman, and you can sort of feel yourself like, yeah, all right, yeah, but a snake oil, like.
Look, I'm just gonna nod and smile and then wave and just wander away from this weirdo and his bag of teeth.
Bag of teeth. Sure. You do that. He says, well, have a pleasant day. Come back if you need any tea. And then he sort of like, you can see him think, that was a weird thing to say. That was a super weird thing to say. Even in context, a bit of a weird thing to say. And he was and busies himself with something else. You might be able to spot him pouring purple fluid into a small vial behind his table. Alrighty. Yeah. You meander around for another 10 minutes or so, and it's probably... You could, you realise it's probably coming up on time to head up to see Mr. Chubb.
I sally forth for the Chubb Trading Company in High Street.
Very well. You do that. You head past a second pub along the way. This one is called the Duke's Knees. As in not the Duke's Sneeze, the Duke's Knees. The sign above the door features a lovingly rendered image of a handsome though balding human man kneeling down, with a benevolent smile that has been had a comical pair of glasses added in mud. And past that, a little way past that, you see what Jasper meant about how the Chubb trading house sort of stands out, and you'll notice it just from the floor. So the high street is not paved. It is packed dirt, except for the square, the about 2 meters out from, and exclusively the frontage of the Chubb Trading Company. It is paved only there. So you can get out of a carriage onto paving stones, walk into the house, but at no other point would you keep your feet clean. Mud? The rascals. Rutgar of Gretz himself is here. Hi, Rutgar. So Rutgar is the Duke, funnily enough, chat. But Rutgar is off adventuring, and is down in Bridgetown. So, yes, let us describe this place. The home and business of Sir Chubb is a modern affair that stands out from most of the other buildings on the high street for both its design and its cleanliness. The handsome three-story affair a handsome three-story affair in the Tudor style. It is distinguished by the road in front of it, and by the rest of the street being simply packed mud and occasionally strewn with straw. The windows, of which there are several, sparkle in the early morning sun, and on either side of the front door oil lamps hang from wrought iron braziers. Above the lintel, in classical script, reads the legend, Chubb. Can you make me an investigation check, please?
My pleasure. Let's investigate. Oh dear, not very well.
Never mind.
6.
So, while it's all very new and swanky in style, and you've been recently to Alfheim, you were in Alfheim only like 3 days ago. This is the sort of the modern style of housing. This is very like a fancy. In the richer areas, this is what everybody's doing with their houses now. However, here in Gretz, this is the only building of its type. However, on closer inspection, your dwarven knowledge of construction, this is a facade. It has been added onto the front of the building. Hi, Ragnar, nice to see you. And the building behind it all is probably quite a bit older than it looks, which is interesting.
An economic upgrade to the building.
Yeah. It's really just for show.
Gotcha.
You are there.
All right, I will knock on the door, ring the bell, whatever is the most obvious way to attract the attention of those within.
Yeah, you knock on the door. There is a brass knocker on the. It's wrought iron again. The whole thing is that's their sort of.
Wonderful. I'll give it a slightly rhythmic knock,
Oh yes, all right, very good. About you wait less than 5 seconds. And a matronly lady opens the door when it is knocked upon and beams at you. Oh, hello there. You'd be the musician then, is it?
Yes. Hi there. I'm Beryl Beryl Ingotfury. Totally lost the ability to say her name. I'm Beryl Ingotfury. I believe your master will be expecting me.
Oh, the Duke's niece. Sorry, I was just reading Rutgar's comments. Named after my brother's daughter, Olga the Unpleasant. Yep. Brace yourself for a lot of this, chat. This was the whole game. All right. Yes. She bows to you and says, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mass. I'll come on in." She bustles you inside and shows you to a receiving room off to the side. She introduces herself as Gladys, the housekeeper. It is sparsely but richly furnished, showing both money and restraint, which might strike you as an interesting combination in a merchant. The wooden floor is polished and partially covered in a rug of elven manufacture. There are 3 low chairs, all thickly upholstered in blue velvet, and each has a granite side table made in the dwarven style, quite ornate. And you are. She leaves you alone. She bows to you and says, "Can I get you anything to drink? Coffee, tea?"
Oh, a cup of tea would be lovely, thank you.
Of course, miss. And she bows politely and then excuses herself. You are left alone, however, for yes, shut up, mops. You are left alone, however, for under a minute. As your host practically charges through the door in his apparent eagerness to meet you. Chubb is a pleasant-looking man, rosy of cheek and slim of build, in his late middle age. He is dressed in an embroidered housecoat and slippers, and like many men in Gretz, has an impressive moustache which twitches when he talks. Miss Ingotfury, I presume. Winston Chubb, a pleasure. You come most highly recommended.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, splendid. So, has Gladys offered you anything to drink at all?
Oh, yes, she's getting me a cup of tea, so I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, splendid, good. Glad to hear it. Yes, well, yes, thank you so much for coming. I was dreadfully happy to have you. The housecoat is, it is a patchwork of reds and yellows. It's not a patchwork, but it's cubes of color, cubes of different patterns, but it's actually been sewn that way. The fabric has been made that way. It's quite richly embroidered. It looks quilted, sort of like someone has done random swirls of stitching to hold it all together. There you go. That's what happens having chat there. Alrighty. So, yes. Good, splendid, well, marvelous. Yes, I'm having a gathering this evening, of course, and that's why I'm keen to hear you play. Do you have a speciality? What you're planning to play?
Oh, well, I can do a range of musical genres for you. It really depends on what sort of party you're planning on throwing.
Can you make me
more traditional folk music, or would you be more interested in some modern interpretation?
Make me an insight check. He seems awkward. He seems like he's dancing around a subject, not sure how to approach it. I can't give you any more than that with an 8, but yeah, like he's not sure how to do this. He also supposes make me an investigation as well.
12.
He also hasn't shaved.
And
this man, like, the house coat, this is not the way you would dress to receive a guest. And he is unshaven, and he is clean shaven except for his, and it's huge. It's the mustache almost reaches his ears, like, or it could do. It sticks out. Think Dr. Robotnik from Sonic, that size, not as bushy, but like. It looks, if he got really agitated, it would probably look like an angry squirrel was sitting on his face. That sort of... but the rest of his face will be clean-shaven, except that it doesn't look like he's probably shaved in 2 days.
Interesting.
Yeah, like that, Ragnar. Exactly, yeah.
Has he responded to my question about whether he'd like traditional or modern music?
Well, he seems to be umming and ahhing. He's like, well, yes. I'm modern, I think. Modern, yes.
Okay. Could I ask you a quick question, if you don't mind?
Yes, certainly. Of course.
You seem to have rushed in here in something of a hurry, and while I appreciate the enthusiasm, I want you to know that's not necessary. You could have taken the time to,
Well. Yes, I suppose I'm a little bit nervous about this meeting. I should. Blast it all, I should come clean, I suppose. I am, of course, keen to hear you play, absolutely. But I'm afraid that was a ruse, as it were. The person who recommended your services was Captain Hammerdine of the Alfheim Guards. Says you're the best investigator of magical crimes that she's ever had under her. She also said that you were retired and may well not be interested in a job. But, well, it's my daughter, you see. She's gone missing.
Oh. I'm so sorry to hear that. I suppose I'm wondering why you might... surely you have, a guardhouse here and investigators. Why on earth would you need someone like me?
Miss Ingotfury, I have run it by the guard. They seem to be under the impression my daughter has ran away, and gave it no further thought. But honestly, I wouldn't have given a damn what they said anyway. I want the best. That's only the best for my daughter.
What makes them think she's only run away?
Because they can't find any source of her. They don't think she was. My daughter's not a wizard or a witch or a sorceress or a warlock or whatever you want to call it. She has no magical training, and there's no sign of her in her room. But they think she'd run away because there's nobody else. There's no other way. No one saw her leave. But she's not here.
Right. And when did this happen?
Well, approximately 6 days ago.
Oh, nearly a week. Okay.
You see, I believe it to be magical because there was a loud bang. And Nanny and I went up and had a look. Of course, I sent Gladys in first because, well, the young lady might not have been in a proper state, and I don't know, but she was gone, and this was just after breakfast. She had returned to her room to change, and then about 20 minutes later, bang, and she was gone.
Okay, So, I know this isn't really, probably the most pressing matter in your mind right now, but is there in fact a party I am playing at, or is that just entirely...
Yes, there is, and, you can make an insight with advantage if you like.
24.
Nat 20. Yeah. No, there is not. He is frantically thinking, who can I invite? Fuck.
Master Chubb, would that happen to be a lie?
No. I'm going to have a party.
But you weren't going to have one until I asked you just then.
Well, look. I haven't really been in the mood to party when my daughter's gone missing, you see.
Right, and if you would come if you had pitched it as I'm looking for an investigator rather than I need a musician of quality.
The impression I received from the captain was such, yes.
Right, because she did tell you I'm retired.
She did, and I apologize. Look, if this is not to your liking, I shall reimburse you the 50 gold. You don't have to play. I'd love to hear it, but you don't have to, and you may go along. And I apologize for the trouble. But I wanted the best, and I was told that was you.
Look, I'm very flattered. I suppose I just don't know how much use I'll be to you. I don't know the town, and I am rusty, you could say.
Well, look, I'll tell you what. How about we double the fee? You take a look over the room. See if your your intuition, your senses get anything. And if not, you shall play for me and some close friends this evening. And I will happily provide you 100 gold pieces for your time.
Beryl's feeling a little guilty because she doesn't want to seem callous, but she's also a bit annoyed. Look, since I'm here, I would be happy to have a quick look around and see if anything jumps out at me. But I'm not promising anything, mind. I don't want you to think that, I'm gonna magically solve your problems today. I'm just saying I'll be happy to have a look.
No, that's splendid, marvelous. I could not ask more. Good night, Rutgar of Gretz. Enjoy. Thank you very much. Enjoy your bed now with the saucy wench. How dare you speak about my mother like that? And try looking into my brother Volkmar the Abductor.
An unfortunate moniker.
Yes, and very inaccurate. So, and at that point, Gladys reappears, bustles in with a tray of tea things. Gladys is in on it. You can. I'll let your 20 insight carry over. She actually, you suspect, was waiting outside the door with her ear pressed against it. It was like, "Hello there, then. We all happy then? We've sorted it out. Have you, Mr. Chubb? Did you tell the fine young lady exactly why you actually asked her here?" And it's splendid. Before he could even answer, good. That's what I should have. I told him he should have just told you straight up, my dear. And plants the tray down in front of you, and she has heaped it with biscuits, and there is like a neatly stacked 6 finger sandwiches with celery and like high tea style finger sandwiches, and yes, a heap of chocolate chipped cookies. And
I feel like I'm being bribed.
A massive, yes, in her own small way, Gladys is definitely trying to bribe you into, or rather, somewhat between bribe and thank. You could probably assume Gladys has worked for the family for the entire length of the daughter's life. And she's probably, given that there's no lady of the house, she's probably quite invested in the child's well-being as well.
Well, maybe I could help myself to a cup of tea, and you, Mr. Chubb, could tell me a little bit about your daughter.
Yes, of course. Charlotte's an only child, you see. And I'll admit, I have spoiled her rather. Not in a bad way, though. And Gladys goes, No, only as a father should. But I do indulge her passions, you see. She does love to read. So all sorts of things as well. She's fascinated by magic, though. Now, I'll not have her training to be a witch or a what have you, but she's got a good head on her for business on her shoulders, so she'll do well to take over the family firm when I retire. But I bring her books of old lore when I find them on my travels, harmless stuff, really, but some of them might have a few incantations in them, but it's not really my area, you see, which is why I asked for you. But that's sort of why I suspect it might have been my bad, if you understand me. There's several books of magic up there, and the bang and the disappearance and all speaks to magic for me. But what else can I tell you? Charlotte loathes it, loathes her name as well. Doesn't like being called that at all. She's 17. She has ginger red hair. And quite a lot of freckles, a charming amount of freckles, actually, rather like her mother. What else? Gladys, what do you think? She says, and Gladys goes, well, she might well be barefoot. She didn't take her slippers with her. And she's got a mole on her side. Mind you, if she's dressed, she probably won't see it. So hopefully you won't see that.
Right. And did she have many friends around town?
Um, Chubb goes, well, a few, yes. So- he looks a little awkward, but it's sort of a don't want to. I'm not racist, but sort of. So I'm not classist is more the thing he's doing there. He's like, well, the nobility here is rather limited group, and they're all quite mad. And beyond that, I don't know. Oh, Ardana is raiding as well. Thank you very much, Ardana, for the raid, everybody. We are second raid of the evening. Throw up your raid emotes in chat. Pleasure to have you, Ardana. Thanks so much for the raid. Yes, we are. This is Ep1 of our new series in Gretz, in my original homebrew world. I haven't played it in a while. But yes, we are playing 1v1 player versus DM. Thank you very much. It's my DM shirt. Yes, thank you for joining us, guys. Yes, smash that follow button if you fancy it. We love having you people here. This is an ongoing story with Beryl Ingotfury, rather. Sorry. Yes, and Beryl is currently getting to the bottom of why she's been summoned to Gretz.
Under false pretenses?
Yes. One-on-one D&D. Exactly right, Rovaljax. Yes. Cool. So he's well, yes, a few daughters of fellow merchants, yes. She
Would
attended...
you say any of them were interested in magic?
I believe they all have a sort of passing interest in it. And Gladys says... Gladys leans in. She attends a school once a week for girls of her age. Well, girls and boys actually, where they learn various things. Handwriting, poetry, I believe. Her poetry's beautiful. She reads it to me sometimes. I can't read myself, but she likes reading books, and they share their books around. She's got a big collection here. Honestly, Mr. Jubber, he spoils her rotten. Yeah, I suppose that would be the answer. So maybe
I don't suppose
four
you
or
could.
five.
I don't suppose you could write down the names of her closest friends. I might need to talk to them.
Yes. Yeah, he does. He would say. He doesn't actually know their first names, mostly. He would probably just say, yes, the Groatman girl, and, yes, there's Ruth Flaskabill Smythe, yes, Martin Groatman's daughter, the young Miss Fotheringdown, and, yeah, he writes down a list of 5 names, or places that you could find the lady in question.
Gives me enough info that if I spoke to the right person, I'll be like, oh yeah, her.
You want Muriel over there, yeah.
Okay, having finished my refreshing cup of tea, I'm going to kind of stand and like brush myself down and be like, I don't suppose you could show me to the young lady's room.
Yeah. He leads you upstairs. Charlotte's room is large and neat, situated on the 3rd floor. The roof is a little bit sloped, like they've gone into the attic a little bit. So the middle point is actually quite high, but out on the edge it's actually quite low. So it feels quite airy, particularly when you add in the extremely large window at the front of the room. The window is, however, locked. And only lockable from the inside. There are the things you'd expect to find in a well-bred young lady's room: a large wardrobe, a 4-poster bed in dark wood, a dressing table, and a nightstand with a jug and a bowl on it. The windows are large and give the room an airy feel. There is also a desk and a bookshelf which fairly groans under the weight of the collected tomes, which appear to be organized rather than by subject or author, but by color. in a sort of fanciful way, creating a rainbow of spines across the shelf, which is rather pretty, though there is a preponderance of red and purple. Yeah, your passive investigation is high enough to get one of the things. You notice on the desk a very thick tome, open. It has leather covers decorated in gold filigree, and it's open about a third of the way through. No, about 2/3 of the way through. And it actually has like a ribbon bookmark, and that bookmark is on the page that is open.
Right. Well, I'm immediately going to go over and have a look.
Very well. Can you make me a history check as you check the book out?
Oh dear. 8.
That's all right. That's not a bad one to get not very good on. So the as you pick the book up, you have a look at it. The leather covers are brown, unusually for books in this room. It would seem that, given that it would seem Chubb is the one who bought her most of the books, he buys her colourful ones. Like, he thinks that she likes the pretty books. But this one is in brown leather. However, the gold filigree is really quite elegant. And it has on it, on the front cover, a picture of a sage. Very much has the look of a wizard on it. And it is a bald man with a pointed beard, like down to a point. You vaguely think Arabian Nights a little bit. Like, if he had a turban on, it wouldn't look weird. But you don't recognize the guy, is what the history check was for. He's quite a famous wizard, but you don't recognize him. The title is The Joy of Extra-Dimensional Spaces.
Oh dear.
Volicruz. Yes. Our D&D familiar audience members may be able to figure out who this person is. Many people have a book with his picture on it. But it's not actually super relevant. What do you do? The book is in your hands. You can make an investigation check to check the book out, or you can do...
Can I read what the page was open? It was open to.
All right. Make me an investigation check. On the book.
18. Much better
very
than
nice.
8.
There you go. Okay. So the book generally is a treatise on micro-dimensions, pocket dimensions, and describes the manner in which several, including Bags of Holding and Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion, how they can be created. You've definitely heard of Bags of Holding. They're fairly common things. The Joy of Extra-Dimensional Spaces. Charlotte's in the astral realm, sadly. Yeah, quite possibly, Rivaljax. Don't spoil it. Yes, you've definitely heard of Bags of Holding, and you've probably heard of Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. They are basically, it's a spell you cast that creates, very temporarily, a house that you can live in. Richly appointed. There are varying levels of it, and by perusing the book, you find it sort of starts out with a simple, like a tent, essentially. You can just pop into, and it lasts for 8 hours, and then it spits you back out. You can basically have a sleep in there without worrying. And then it expands the difficulty, and Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion is it's really quite a high-end level spell. It's been extensively annotated by hand, however. The annotations amount to a description of how to maintain these spaces permanently, rather than just creating them from scratch when required. It says that the doorways to such a place would be permanent though hidden, and would most likely persist indefinitely. And you got over the 17 as well, which also lets you establish that the annotator did this, and that the key to entering their particular mansion is a simple ritual involving marking some simple sigils on the floor in salt, and marking out a specific boundary in a more permanent manner. but you do need to know where the doorway would be. That's what an 18 gets you.
Right. Beryl's is gonna give a deep sigh. I'm all for curiosity in young people, but sometimes I feel like they just go a little too far on their own, don't you think?
But and Chubb has not come into the room. He sent Nanny in. Nanny did a quick once-over of the room to establish that the child wasn't in it. And then they haven't touched the room. I don't want to. Didn't maybe she's invisible. I didn't want to hurt her. I have no idea. This is totally beyond my ken, as it were. So I thought best to just leave it. The investigators came in, did essentially what Nanny did. Looked under the bed, checked in the wardrobe, knocked around. They went up in the attic to have a look. Beyond that, they couldn't find anything, so they concluded she was not here. They noted the window was locked, and it was when they haven't unlocked. No one's unlocked it. So she couldn't have gotten out that way and then locked it from the inside.
Right. So everything in here is more or less as she left it.
I believe so, yes.
Right. Can I look around? Is there any salt on the floor?
You may have a look. Yes, I will allow survival investigation, or investigation, whichever you choose. They may find different things, though.
7 for investigation.
Try the survival as well.
Oh, wow, a non-natural 20
Ooh,
for survival.
Okay. Alrighty, so you don't find any salt. You do, however, note a couple of scratches on the floor next to the window. They are not close to each other, however. They are about 8 feet apart. And now that when you spot them, you check them out a little bit closer, you can tell that not only were they, with a 20, not only have they're fresh, but the floor itself has been polished. Not recently, but it is a polished floor. But the scratches themselves have been newly scratched, but also they were there before the floor was polished. And they've been sort of re-scratched.
Do they look like the sort of scratches you might get if you, say, pulled a concealed shelf or door out of whatever's next to it?
It wouldn't be a survival. I would get you to make an... Ooh. I think an investigation, another one on this particular subject, or possibly just a straight intelligence. Hi, Thamiel, good to see you, mate. Thamiel, we are playing one-on-one D&D. Straight
15
intelligence. Not
intelligence.
bad. No is the answer. It looks more like it was done with a knife.
Right. Cool. Could I do an Arcana check on this particular bit of the room?
You certainly may. Make me an Arcana check. In the office, so mostly listen, but not very active.
30-20 again.
Ooh! Thamiel, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us. So, yes, an Arcana check of filthy 20. This room fairly brims over with magical essence. The shelf with the books on it has several quite magical books on it, but it's sort of a lingering magical essence. However, hey Omi, good to see you. Check out Tea Turtle if you want the t-shirt. It's the people who did, they've done several board games as well, including Here to Slay, if you like D&D light board games. Oh, you've got a few. Good. I don't think I even bought this. I think this one was bought
No,
for
I
me.
bought that one for you.
Yeah, because it's my DM t-shirt. Yes, however, the biggest concentration of magical energy in the room is by far and large these two scratches. In fact, a dirty 20, I will give you on the floor directly between the two of them, you can see. It's invisible to a mundane eye, but you can see the outline of a sigil on the floor. That sort of it it looks like where you've set a fire and then the fire's gone out. That imprint it leaves on sand. That sort of thing, but it's ethereal, blue, and invisible to the naked eye. It only shows up with your sort of magic vision, you know?
Yeah.
And it's quite a complicated sigil. It doesn't look unhealthy. It doesn't look nasty. It's not a nasty kind of gross magic, but it's definitely there. You'd only spot the one, but and with a 20, you would also remember that that's one of the sigils the book mentioned.
Right. So it's safe to assume that this is the doorway through which young Charlotte has accidentally magicked herself slightly more permanently than she perhaps intended.
Yeah.
Right. Did her notes say anything about getting back once you've gone?
Go back to the book. You got an 18 on the investigation. Now you know specifically what you're looking for. You can make me another check, please, with advantage, to find that particular piece of information in the book.
18 to
Another
find
one.
the way to get back, or to get someone back.
Alrighty. Yeah. So the notes were. You don't believe Charlotte made the notes.
Right. Someone else did.
This was the original owner of the book made the notes, and but you do glean that this is the person who. So what happened was someone wrote the book, possibly the dude on the cover. Then somebody else got the book, was intrigued by it, and probably quite a skilled wizard, because the notes are on how to improve the spells to make them permanent. And but it does specify that the way to get back from the place is sort of built into the place itself. The person who creates it has the code, sort of the way to get back. Each is unique to each other. She has not, or they have not, but written down the code to escape their private room in the book, unfortunately. But she does make a note, and I've said she a couple of times. It does feel like a lady's handwriting, I suppose. It has a sort of vaguely flowery flourish. Sort of. It's not the grim, determined scratch, 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 block, block, stick, block of a man's handwriting. If you take my meaning. I don't know. Very, very sexist of me there. Yeah, the way the person writes feels feminine.
Right.
But yeah, and this person says does make a note to the effect of it would be a good idea when making these things, just in case somebody finds their way into your private space, for there to be a way out that shouldn't be too difficult to figure out. Just a sort of a word to the wise, nota bene, make sure there's a way out that anybody could figure out given enough time and resources.
Right.
Sexist yet accurate.
So is there any notes about time passing differently in these dimensions? Because it's possible that she's gone and it's only been, a short period of time for her, but 6 days out here.
Yeah,
He may have unintentionally scared the pants off her dad for no good reason.
That thought does occur to you. In fact, I'd say I'll let the 18 carry over. The notations also include a way to make time run differently. From what you know of magic, which is your training is musical based, so it's not huge overlap, but you can tell from what's written down that it could be used to do both, either speed time up or slow it down. However, the author doesn't really. The author is like, you could use these also. If you flip this value, you could make time speed up rather than slow down whilst in this pocket dimension. But I don't know why you would. Why would you want a pocket dimension in which time runs faster? unless you wanted to get really good at something quickly. Would be the only, like, you could hear her having this sort of thought process in real time as she's making these notes. Far more useful to make time run slower. Time runs. It makes more sense to make things run faster in the pocket dimension than slower.
Yes.
Like, why would you want to go in there and have time, like, have it only be a day in the pocket dimension, but a week passes outside? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you want that? Unless you want to...
if you're a young woman with no formal magical training who's doing it by yourself in your bedroom...
You could cock it up.
You could have cocked it up.
Yeah.
So there's a chance she's just in there and hasn't realised how long it's been. Or she's stuck in there and can't work out how to get out.
Yeah.
Or she really cocked it up and she can't get out.
Yeah.
And Beryl's kind of realizing with a sort of resigned air that she's kind of going to have to go into this pocket dimension and hope that she can get back out. All right.
Have you found anything?
Well, I think your daughter's been trying out some magic, and
Oh, blast.
she's not necessarily in any danger or come to any harm. She may just not quite have realized what she was doing. Could you fetch me some salt, please?
Yes, of course. Gladys, if you wouldn't mind. And Gladys dashes off. You hear clunk, 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 clunk.
Now, I'm going to take this book with me if I manage to disappear in the same manner as your daughter. If I don't come back in a few hours, you may want to see if you can find a local wizard or sorcerer. Because while I have some magical ability, I wouldn't say, I'm a highly experienced or highly trained magical user. And depending on what your daughter's managed to do, I may not be able to get back either.
Oh, I see. He looks at the book in your hands and he says, "Whose is that?"
Well, I assume it's Charlotte. It's on her desk.
Oh. Well, interesting. The girl does have pocket money.
Right.
He did not buy her this book. He has never seen it before.
Right. I assume that... And then she points to kind of the bookshelf of colourful books. I assume you do not recognize these books?
Oh, yes.
But not
Don't get many interesting ones out here, so I have to sort of buy them for her most of the time.
I see. Alright, yeah, give me a few hours, and if I'm not back, then I would recommend finding a more advanced magical user, because there's a chance that we're trapped in an alternate dimension, which can be fun. And,
he goes pale. He goes like white. What?
It's sort of like a magical pocket.
Yes, like a bag of holding. Would she suffocate?
Oh no! It's they're perfectly safe to go into. It's just time may be passing differently, or she may have made a mistake and not be able to, activate the magic to get back.
Oh, right. At this point, Gladys comes back and she says, "Oh, that old thing." Looking at the book in your hands.
She's had this a while?
Oh, I think so, my dear. That it was in the house when we moved in, sir. Oh, was it? Oh.
Do you happen to know who lived in this house before you did?
And it'd been empty for several years, I think. Finer houses in Gretz don't tend to get sold very much. Not very many people move here. It's not a bustling sort of. I came in at the forefront of a group of traders when.
So you don't know whose house it was before you left?
No, I don't believe. I believe it had been empty for a while. I had heard a rumor that it was inhabited by a traveling. She was a priest, a cleric, a worshipper of Zeros, I believe. Quite a powerful lady.
I see. see. Okay, well, I'm gonna give this a try, and just remember, if I'm not back in a few hours, you go get more magical help. Okay.
I certainly shall. I certainly shall.
And I will use the salt to trace the sigil on the floor.
Sure. You do that. Yeah. Make me a art performance. Yeah, performance check to accurately draw this sigil.
11.
You do a passable job of it. You look at it and you're like, I should do it. But, interestingly, nothing happens.
I'll consult the book. Is there, like, anything I have to do while I'm drawing this?
Two things, it says. One, you have to draw more than one sigil. It's about 5.
Ah.
And the second is an ignition source. You have to light it. You have to light the salt.
Cool. I presume I would have matches.
Yeah. Or prestidigitation.
Oh, yeah. Of course. That's right.
You can make tiny flames, like a match flame, basically. You can't make anything that really lights the way or anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, the other sigils listed in the book?
Yes, yeah. They're all there. You just... The only one you'd seen was that one. But,
cool.
yeah.
Well, I'll use my foot to kind of brush the salt away.
Oh. That one was right, but the rest would be in other places.
All around the room?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, then I don't kick it away. I'll just kind of try and neaten it up with my finger.
Sure. Make me another performance check to get the others.
Crit fail.
Oh, no. Yeah, actually, you know what? This is why this happens. Yeah. So yeah, you do them fine, but it doesn't seem to work. Yeah, it's still not taking for some reason.
Interesting.
And the only one you could see was on the floor.
So I'm guessing at the other sigils.
Well, you feel like it indicates that they all have to be in a circle around the door. So yeah, pretty much you are guessing. You do sort of an archway using the scratches on the floor as that, but it's on the ground.
Right. I'm going to do another Arcana check to kind of scan more of the floor to see if I can spot the other sigils.
Make an Arcana check.
Please don't be a 1. 13.
Nothing on the floor, however, you do spot one on the wall.
How am I supposed to do it on the wall in salt?
And seeing one, you can see the other 4. They form a sort of the sides and roof of a door.
Still doesn't solve my problem of how I'm going to do that with salt. Do you have like a rock salt, maybe?
Gladys goes, I could nip on down to the market.
No, don't worry. It may be a silly idea. Perhaps we could make some sort of salt paste.
You can. Would you? What would you do with the salt? How would you do that?
Put in a little bit of water. Try and make a little.
Like brine?
No, not nearly that much water. I'm trying to make a little paste so I can draw on the wall with the.
Yeah. Try it. Yeah. How would you do this? Like, what skill would you utilize to attempt this?
I don't know what skill is mixing salt and water together and finger painting on the wall.
I don't want it to be another performance check because I don't really feel like this is performance. Let's call it dexterity. Straight dex check.
11. I'm not doing so good.
Okay, well, so the idea, you're like, this might be a silly idea. So you like dip your finger in water and then draw it on where the sigil is, and then you just pour some salt on it. Is that the sort of?
I'm like making damp salt.
Trying to make salt stick to the wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't work super well, except where the sigil actually, like perfectly, where the salt adheres perfectly.
Excellent. Well, then I'll just kind of dampen the whole spot and kind of throw salt at it.
You notice actually that the salt that isn't even damp is sticking to the sigil.
Oh, handy. I'm just going to throw salt at the sigils.
The salt sort of falls off, and you hear both Gladys and Chubb, who haven't. They're still at the door, like looking at, like, see you throwing salt at the wall, and this sigil appearing. Go, Mr. Chubb, magic, sir, look at that. Oh, isn't she clever, Mr. Chubb? Oh, is she clever? She good. And yeah, you create 4 sigils, and the 4th one on the floor. It seems that the 5th one on the floor. They're all there now.
Right. Now, don't be alarmed if there's a loud bang. I think that's what's supposed to happen.
Yes, all right. Well, take care.
All right. And I'm going to cast Prestidigitate. I'm going to have the book tucked under my arm so it comes
Good
with
idea.
me.
Yep. The salt bursts into dazzling purple light, quickly burning away into a haze, which sort of, like, you know how gunpowder burns when it's in a light? That. Quickly burning away into a haze that swirls into a deep violet vortex in front of you that opens, seemingly tethered in place by the scratch marks on the floor. The vortex is silent, but you feel it tugging at you. And then a loud bang as you cross the threshold. And then there is only the sensation of falling. And I think there is a good place to have a quick breaklet. Well done. You've found your way in. This is great. Good job. So yeah, we will go for a quick breaklet. Just to refresh ourselves. Karen knows all about things that burn purple. Oh dear. Yes. Splendid. Karen, you may have found your way into an extra dimension. So there we go. Do I need to get high as this character too?
Oh, I'm logged in as Corsairs. That is me.
Hey Karen. It's like, hey Beryl, you won't get high?
Want to get high?
Hey dwarf girl. Alrighty. Cool. Well, ladies and gents, we will take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. We'll be very, very fast. We just need to refresh ourselves, and we will be right back into it. Stay here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, guys. Have a lovely evening. See you soon. Bye-bye. Fast and ahoy once again to ye mateys. I be back. Josh be back. Karen and Josh be back. Omi, thank you so much. That's incredibly nice and flattering. Can I just say it's great to have Josh back in the DM's chair on a Monday. Mate, thank you. It makes me feel very appreciated and loved. Guys, we are playing 1v1 DM versus player. Although it's obviously we're just that's boom boom. Yeah. That's what we're doing. It's not nearly as aggressive or confrontational as that, but yet. We haven't had any combat yet. So we are here on Corsairs Cove supporting Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. They're going through a bit of a rough time, as you may have noticed. So we've decided to help do what little we can. If you have any pennies that you can spare, please consider donating to the Emergency Action Appeal. It is a group of charities that have banded together to put together what they can do for the people who have been displaced. It's like 8 million people have been displaced. It's a lot. And we've managed to raise over $1 million there so far. We haven't, they have. And
we can't take credit for that.
Yeah, no. And the Australian government, if we had, then we wouldn't be doing this. Like, if we had that kind of reach, we honestly probably wouldn't be doing this. And the Australian government has promised another 2 million, which would be awesome if that happens. So, if you have any spare pennies, please send them their way. Right. Back to the story.
I have just been sucked into a purple vortex.
Yeah. As let's be honest, this is not the first time. It just only the others have been in dreams. You go through the portal. It lasts only a moment, however, this falling sensation. It basically is just a moment of vertigo. However, as you find yourself standing in a silent wooden hallway. The ceiling arches to 15 feet high overhead, and a long hallway stretches out on either side of you. You're in a foyer that leads to a front door, as in there is a front door just behind you that is exactly 8 foot wide, and has sort of matching scratches on the floor. interestingly enough. The carpet underneath your feet it's like a rich sort of Persian-style rug, but it has the sigil on the floor that you did in Salt. That is woven into the pattern on the rug.
Alrighty.
Standing in the middle of this area is a staircase leading up, like ahead of you, and then there's hallway down either side. You appear to be in the middle of a house. You can have a look down each hallway. You see doors only on the far side of the hallway. There is no doors on the near side, but that doesn't seem unusual because you are on one side of a house. You've just come in through the front door, as it were.
Right.
There aren't any windows, however. The whole place is... The roof, the ceiling is sort of suffused with a gentle glow. Like, you can easily see where you're going. You could probably read by it. Yeah. There isn't any sort of lamps. It's all sort of in innate illumination. And there are, as I say, no windows. Down the far end, however, there is a door. There is a door at the very far end of both ends of the hallway, which are about 50 feet in each direction. And then there is, to your left, 3 doors, and to your right, 2 more, and a staircase. And the staircase is just to the right, and one of the doors is just to the left. And then there are 2 more doors further down in each direction, and then the third one in each direction at the very end.
Right. Beryl's going to take a deep breath and holler at the top of her voice.
Oh, very well. All right.
Hello? Is anyone in here?
You do that. Beryl, make me a... No, I'm not going to make it a check. You shout. You're a bard. You can shout. You hear...
She gets a end of the night, all of you all get out of here and go home vibe on, and it's just,
Yes. You hear a clatter from the right-hand side, like the corridor that leads up the right direction. Yes, that's what you hear. And do you do anything? That's the first thing you hear. If you wait a little longer, other things will happen.
I'll give it. I'll note the clatter and pause and kind of concentrate on that direction just to see if I hear anything else.
You would guess that the clatter comes from the nearest door on the right, so just past the staircase.
Right.
So you train your perception in on that. Make a perception check, please. 4. You can't make out any further noises from it, but it could be because there aren't any to hear. However, I'm going to say you probably do this for 10-15 seconds, like... and about 15 seconds later, the doorway at the far end of the hallway, so down the right-hand end, opens, revealing a red-headed young lady. Who says, "Hello there, who are you?"
Oh, hi, I'm Beryl. You wouldn't happen to be Charlotte, would you?
Oh, did my daddy send you?
Well, how long do you think you've been in here?
Oh, long time. I've been kind of lost track. At least a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's interesting. Well,
Why?
as far as your daddy's concerned, you've been gone for 6 days, and he's a little concerned.
Yeah. I didn't mean this. I didn't at all. I wanted to try and open it.
I see that. So, have you tried to get back?
I can't figure it out.
Oh, I see.
I knew there'd be a key, I just can't find it. The book said it needs a key, and I thought there'd be a key.
You mean like a physical key as opposed to like a magical sort of device or ritual?
I guess it could be like a code. Honestly, I kind of gave up.
Oh, okay. Are you alright? You not hungry or anything?
Oh, no, I've been well looked after.
Oh, by who? Who's here?
Cumin, coriander, and the door where you heard the clatter opens, and quite the strangest face you've ever seen appears. And she says, "Don't worry, they're just a bit. They take a bit of getting used to. This face is made of kitchen stuff, like things you would find in a kitchen, like pots, pans, kitchen implements. Like the teeth are, the mouth is a whisk that sort of compresses when the being, it seems to change shape to be its mouth. It is just a torso and arms and a head that appears to float. It's vaguely humanoid, and about half the size, like the torso of a goblin or a 5-year-old child. And it's the top of its head is a, like the basis for its head would be a bucket, which contains the word, which appeared to presumably contain cumin before it was repurposed to be the head of this being, and now it's a tin, like a tin. Yeah, a tin is the word I was looking for, and it buzzes. Sort of, its voice has a sort of vaguely mechanical buzzing quality to it. It says, "Yes, Miss Joy." "Oh, a new guest. Greetings,
Hello.
mistress.
Hello. Cumin?
This is Cumin. He's very kind.
Oh, have you been
And a
taking
great
care-
cook."
Oh, lovely. That's quite one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
They do take a bit of getting used to, yeah. And
Okay.
and then a second one sort of appears, very similar to the first, but this one's head is longer, thinner, and narrower. And it says coriander on it. In fact, this one is made so cumin appears to be made of mostly metal bits and pieces. Coriander is wood, like wooden boxes and so forth. But the box that is the coriander headpiece is it's upside down. So coriander is spelt underneath its nose upside down, and the lid is the mouth, and it sort of flaps. And it's on a hinge. You can very clearly see the hinges of the mouth, and it has a sort of snapping, flapping tone to its voice. The voice is terrible. Now the voice checks out. Oh, I agree, but also terrible. Yeah.
Well, is there maybe somewhere we could all sit down? And I brought your book with me, so maybe you could show me which part of the book talks about how to get back.
Oh, great! You brought it with. Okay, great. Yeah. She says, "Okay. Cumin, coriander. Where should we go?" And she seems to be deferring to them, in terms of where she's allowed to go. Coriander says, "That mistress would probably entertain in the dining room." And gestures for you to follow it. "Please follow." Snap, snap, snap with its jaws. And it opens the door to the dining room, which is the next door along.
I'll kind of wait for Charlotte to kind of get to me, and then we can go in together.
Well, she would. It's the dining room is about the doorway is about halfway up the. It would be almost precisely between you. In fact, she would have come up the hallway to you. So you both have to walk down towards it. But yeah, right. She was like, okay, and she would lead you almost to like, yeah, come, let's have a search.
Yeah, your daddy's been very worried about you.
I've been worried too. I didn't mean to, frighten him.
That's okay. I'm sure we can work it out together.
I might have gotten further if cumin and coriander let me explore the whole house.
Oh, so they don't just let you wander around?
The mistress is quite particular about her property.
Who is the mistress? If you don't mind me asking.
Mistress Fistandia.
Does that ring a bell?
Make me a history check.
Ooh, 18.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. This is, you would know this because you are you're not a hugely religious person. I wouldn't have said. Would that be fair to say? However, you are a magical user, and you have some training in the magical arts. Zeros is the goddess of wisdom and knowledge and magic. Fistandia, about, you would say you've heard stories of a very powerful cleric called Fistandia, who was a worshipper of Zeros. That's pretty much all you know, though. Except possibly that she would have been, at least 50 years ago. This is not your generation. But with that being said, she was a human, and a cleric. But not beyond the realms of possibility, like powerful wizards, powerful spellcasters, the extension of life. She could well still be alive.
Is your mistress here? Is she in the house? The mansion?
We have not seen her for many years.
Oh, okay. Did she leave?
Yes.
Do you know where she left in the house?
The mistress. Let me just. There is actually a response to this. The mistress often enters and spends much time in the planetarium.
Oh, okay. And do you think that was the last place she was before she left?
Often, when she leaves the planetarium, often when she enters the planetarium, the next place we see her is where you appeared.
Right. Well, that is good to know. Thank you.
They show you into the dining room. The dining room is a very pleasant room in wood-panelled, and where are we? It has large windows, form the entirety of one wall, looking out to a garden. It's actually raised garden beds on a patio. There isn't a back door in this room, but you would guess from looking through those windows that Charlotte came in from the back garden, as it were. Interestingly, however, about 35-40 feet from the windows, there is no scenery. It's purple mist. So just basically you get to the edge of the patio and then it's purple mist.
Right. Charlotte, why don't you sit down and let's have a look at the book together, okay?
Within the room there is a crystal chandelier hanging above a dark table made of a large table made of dark wood. 6 matching wooden chairs with scarlet cushions surround the table, and a 7th chair sits alone in the far corner. Is what I have written down about it. This is going to sound like an odd question, but which chair do you sit in?
Whichever is second closest.
So
basically, I'll walk towards the table and chairs. I'll leave the first one I come to empty for Charlotte to sit in, and I will proceed to the next one.
Right. So you are entering through the door from the hallway. There is another door that would lead into you would guess, the kitchen where coriander and cumin came from. So that shared wall there. The if the corridor is there, the kitchen is there. This is this room. The table runs lengthways along it. There is a chair right in front of your door, a chair right in front of the door to the kitchen, and then a chair on the far side. Which of those three would you be leaving for Charlotte? And then you'd be sitting next to.
So there's one at the end of the table and then one on either side.
Yeah, two on either side, one at each end, and then there's a seventh in the top corner.
Right. I'll leave the one at the end of the table empty for Charlotte, and I'll go to the one on the right and sit down.
Towards the kitchen or away from the kitchen?
Whichever way is to the right when you walk in the door.
Okay, that's away from the kitchen. So you're putting your back to the windows. Yes?
No, I want to be facing the window. I'll go to the left.
Okay, you go to sit in the one opposite the at the with your back to the kitchen door.
Oh, well then that's not good. I thought it sounded like that. No, I don't want my back to the door. I want to be able to see the door in case anything comes through it.
I mean, you can sit at the far end of the table and be able to see both doors and the window.
Yeah, but that's down the far end of the room, you know.
Well, you could gesture her to come up to the far end of the room.
Fine, I'll do that. You're confusing the hell out of me.
Sorry.
Draw a picture next time.
I have a picture. It's a very small one, though. Yeah. I can draw a picture. Draw a picture. Draw a picture. So.
No, don't waste time. Just say I sit at the chair where I can see everything, and ask Charlotte to sit next to me.
Chair,
Next time,
chair,
draw a picture.
chair, door,
He's not
kitchen.
listening to me, guys.
No. Hallway, windows. That there is what we're dealing with. Kitchen, hallway, windows. That's the door you're coming in through. Which chair would you like?
All right, I'll go to the far end, so the head of the table.
Those two?
Yeah.
To sit in? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. You do that. I'm sorry, it feels like I'm being very specific, but it matters, unfortunately. So yeah, you do that. You sit down and you get Charlotte to show you the page in the book, or the bit of the book that's relevant to the... What was it you were exactly looking to find out?
I was looking over the bit of the book that tells you how to leave.
Right. Cool. She says, well, I think it's this bit here, and turns it open a few pages past where the red bookmark is. Yeah, she's flicking through, finds it, and she basically points to the same bit that you've already read. The notes in the margins and things, Fistandia's notes. And yeah, she says these ones here, and it is very much just what you already knew. She says that it's a good idea to leave a key in your mansion, so in case anybody gets in, they can get out again. Otherwise, it's impossible to get out. But it has to be a key that would stay. And honestly, I thought it would be a key. Like, when you say a key, you mean like a key, but it could be like a code.
Key can mean many things, not necessarily a literal key. So that's all there is? There isn't another part of the book that talks about it?
No. I mean, so Mr. Mordenkainen, who wrote the book, his ones destroy themselves after a day. They don't last. But it means you can't keep anything in them, and you can't keep coming back to them. This was Fistandia's home.
Right, so it seems to be permanent.
Oh, absolutely. Cumin and coriander have been here for years.
Right. Well, if that's all the book has to share with us, then we probably need to go look at this planetarium. Have you been there?
No. I haven't been allowed upstairs.
Right.
They've been very welcoming, though. They've cooked me. They have longed. I think they've been really lonely. They've been looking after me really well. I get fed 3 times a day, and as she says that, cumin and coriander fly in, both carrying bowls of steaming soup. Cumin's got 2 bowls of steaming soup, and coriander has a basket full of freshly baked bread. And puts them down. They both sort of put them down in front of you, and then pour one of them pours water, while another one floats over to a side, like a dresser that has silverware in it, and lays a table for 2 in front of you with this beautiful silverware.
Wow, that smells lovely. Thank you.
It is a fresh tomato soup, like made. You could tell this is freshly made.
Wow. Okay. Can I do an Arcana check on the soup?
You are welcome to. Yes.
Because Beryl's instinct is to, have at
Definitely
it.
don't eat anything in a magical world.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
How much Beryl loves a good meal is competing
Whoa,
with
23.
a magical. Yeah.
The I would have said, if lower, I would have said distinguishing between magic and not magic in this place is quite difficult. But actually, the soup is oddly mundane,
Wow.
given that it was prepared by magical creatures in a magical place, presumably with magical water. The soup itself is actually fairly mundane.
I'm gonna have the tiniest of tastes of this soup.
Charlotte is nowhere near as restrained and is dunking a chunk of bread into her soup. Oh, cumin does such good soups. It tastes like it's quite a bit. It's a bit spicy. It's a little like it leaves your tongue pleasantly tingling. It's got some bite to it. It's really well made tomato soup.
Cool.
And cumin pats you on the shoulder and says, "Good for what ails you," and then swoops away.
Well, I'll eat some of the soup.
You do that.
It feels like it would be rude not to.
Charlotte mentions to you as well that she turns to you about halfway through her meal. In fact, no, she has pounded her meal as if she is. Well, she's a 17-year-old. She's growing child. If they wanted the puny wizard dead, she would be, despite the Cyberman Dalek sounding golems. She turns to you and says, as she's mopping her bowl out while you're still about halfway through yours, she says, "Oh, would you mind not calling me Charlotte?"
Oh.
Only Daddy calls me Charlotte. I hate it. I don't mind because it's Dad, but my friends all call me Joy.
Oh. Well, that's a lovely nickname.
Oh, it's my middle name.
Oh, right. Well, Joy, have you asked either of these fellows if they'll take you up to the planetarium?
They're not allowed in there.
Oh.
She says, they're not allowed in a lot of the rooms, and they're quite protective of Fistandia's space, which I get. It's her house. I'm just a guest. They made me up a bed in one of the studies. I've been allowed to use most of the ground floor. The library's amazing. I've just been reading, practicing. I've learned a lot. I've learned so much. And then she clicks her fingers, and a flame appears at the tip. You know prestidigitation when you see it.
Very nice.
And she says, and she seems to have difficulty making it go away, and then she
Oh, well, so do you know which room is the planetarium?
I think it's upstairs.
So if I asked them to show me where it was, they would probably not do so?
She goes, I mean, if you've got a better idea of how to get us out of here, they're very accommodating. Cumin! And Cumin sort of flutters back in. Yes, Joy. Would it be okay if... Did you actually tell her your name?
I don't know. I would have, though.
I think so, yeah. Would it be okay if Beryl and I had a bit of a wander around the house? We promise we won't touch anything. And can you please make me a persuasion check? This is on her behalf, but... So it's...
14.
14. Cumin goes... Cumin, actually, tell you what, I got the wrong person. Creepy, could you make me a persuasion check, please? Type !persuasion into chat, it'll come up. I should be doing that way. Cumin seems to consider it for a while, he actually like rubs one of his, he scratches one arm with another arm, sort of, oh no. He has this, you can see in him a desperate need to please. There we go, 16! Excellent, thank you very much, Creepy. Let us just ban that person. There we are.
I suppose you could say Beryl puts on her most charming bard face.
Yeah. There we go. Beryl does that, and so smiles sweetly at Cumin. As does Joy. When Joy sees that you're smiling sweetly, she joins in. It's this pair of Cheshire cat grins at this robot. Which you also feel free to make me an Arcana or History check about those as well, if you like. Before it goes, I do not see any harm in that. You've heard of these things. These are called homunculi.
Ooh.
They are created by... They're not really sort of wizard things. It's actually more of an artificer thing. They are created by powerful wizards or artificers as assistants. And in fact, it's unusual for a wizard or a cleric to have one. But what you would also know with a 20 is that they don't... If the person who makes them dies, they die.
Mm.
You also know that it's only possible to make one at once.
The how of it too.
But Cumin considers and says, please do not touch anything. Items can be dangerous. The mistress was very specific that we were not to touch anything.
Oh, we will be the picture of politeness and restraint.
This is acceptable. Enjoy your stay. Will you be requiring a bed, Mistress Beryl?
Oh, well, I don't see there's any harm in you making one in case we happen to stay long enough for me to need some sleep. That'd be very kind of you.
Cumin bows and so it makes a sort of vague flutter noise as it whooshes away. Yeah.
All right, let's get moving before they get too curious about what we're up to, okay?
It's sort of exciting to have someone to share this with. Do you want to see the places I already know, or do you want to go up to the planetarium first?
No, let's see if we can find the planetarium straight away, just in case they do decide to come looking for us. We want to get that one out of the way.
Okay. She leads you. She says, I don't know where it is, but it'd probably be upstairs.
Okay, well, let's go.
So yeah, you head upstairs. Upstairs is, in design, is fairly similar to downstairs. The walls are wood panelled up to about sort of rib cage height, 4 feet. And above that it is plaster. But where downstairs was dark green painted walls, these upstairs are a blue. They are hung with several pictures, mostly scenes, notably no pictures, no images. No pictures are obvious. Portraits, that's the one. No people in any pictures. It's all scenes. There is one, however, with a dragon. But no humanoids. It's a gold dragon striking a pose, about to leap. At the top of the stairs, you find a door leading to the right. There is also another door off the landing leading to the left. So one goes that way, one goes that way.
Right. Which way do you think?
She's like, I don't know. The garden's that way.
Well, let's go the other way then.
Alrighty, you go through the left-hand door. You find yourself in... most of the room, this room, is taken up by long wooden tables that are covered with glass vessels and books. Cabinets with glass doors line the walls, and they contain all manner of specimens. Think sort of a biology lab. Just below the ceiling, in the middle of the room, colourful globes circle each other in an intricate dance. These are not connected to anything, they're just sort of floating in a really quite sort of, very much in 3 dimensions. It's not a diagram of a solar system. This is very much, each one is a different colour. And though they're all variations between purple and blue. Sorry, between red and blue. So they run that spectrum. They glow quite brightly and illuminate the room in a very pleasant purpley glow. The far wall is almost completely covered with the map of the night sky, with a golden sunburst in the center above a closed door.
Look, I don't want to pride myself on my intuition, but I feel like that door there might lead into the planetarium. Don't you think, Joy?
No, sorry.
You still there, Joy?
Oh, no, yeah. Sorry, I was just reading. The closed door. It is above a closed door, and you can infer that.
Fantastic. I'll just cross to the door and open it, I think.
Very well. The planetarium is what you have found. Well done. You got lucky. The door opens into a dark, open space, offering a view of a starry firmament. 5 telescopes mounted on bronze plates point towards the constellations above. In the middle of the space, a 1-foot diameter sphere of clear crystal sits on a circular brass stand.
I would like to do an Arcana check on that, please.
You certainly can. Make me an Arcana check, please. On the glass crystal.
Yes, 11. I'm not rolling particularly well.
It actually doesn't seem magical. It looks like it interacts with something that is, but it's not itself. The crystal. Make me an investigation check on the crystal as well. Now you're looking at it.
13.
The crystal is faceted in the way of a prism, and it would seem to redirect light.
Interesting.
Charlotte, who has followed you in, Joy rather, who has followed you in, is doing a circle of the room, her eyes boggling. So the room is quite a bit wider than the house. And it is a detailed and convincing illusion of a grassy knoll under a moonless night. Springy turf compresses underfoot, and she is taking apparently quite a lot of delight in jumping barefoot up and down on this. She says, I haven't felt grass under my feet in months. Now, she might be using hyperbole there. The starry night sky is visible in all directions. And have you closed the door? Important question.
No, the door is open.
I did not think so. The terrain more than 20 feet away at ground level from the center of the room is shadowy and indistinct. Only the stars above are clear. In fact, they shine down with an almost fierce light. And you see her wander off into the distance, into the hazy boundaries of the room.
Joy, don't go too far.
And as you say that, she stops, like she's walked into a wall, and sort of rubs her head, and she says, I don't think I can.
That's probably for the best.
It is still a room.
Very odd room. Do I have any salt left?
Oh, say you brought some, why not? Yeah. You have a small jar of salt.
Can I throw a little salt at this crystal?
Yes. To what purpose?
I want to see if any sigils appear.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that. You sprinkle a little salt on it. Nothing happens. Well, something happens, but the thing that happens is that the salt falls to the floor.
Can I look at the floor? Is it settling anywhere on the floor?
It's just grass. It's there's a slight ring, but it's really just the way it fell off the bauble.
Right. Can I reach out and touch the crystal, please?
Yes. To what end?
I suppose to feel if it has any, like, energy to it, or it literally just feels like a faceted rock instead.
The second.
Well, it appears just to be a large crystal. Which is irritating. It looks special.
Joy says, well, maybe it's to do with these. And she indicates the 5 telescopes on stands around it.
Maybe. And I'm going to throw some salt at the nearest telescope.
Joy looks a little confused and then sort of, oh, the sigils. Oh, maybe. But no salt sticks, I'm afraid.
Can I look into the nearest telescope to see what it's focused on?
Yep, you may. Which one would you look into? The one nearest the door?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Alright, you look up, you see a constellation.
Do I recognize it? Is it a familiar constellation?
Would this person be particularly familiar with astronomy?
Probably not. You know, more, kind of like the average person can point out Orion's belt, that sort of
Yeah, it's about it. Like, yeah, alright. So not super. Okay, an investigation or history.
Oh, excuse me. 9. Oh my god.
It's a constellation. You don't recognize it. You wonder if you probably be like looking at it. You're like, well, I could probably figure that out if I have a look at the other map, like which one it is.
Can I go to the next telescope?
Yep, you certainly
Into that
can.
one as well?
Yep. More stars.
And I still don't recognize any of them?
Make another history if you like. Make it history this time.
Dirty 20.
Ooh. Yeah, this one you do recognize. This is Sagittarius.
Hey.
Why not?
Cool.
I'm not making up a bunch of new star signs.
Cool. I'll go check the other 3 as well.
Yeah, you do that. You only recognize one other. It's Virgo.
Right. So they seem to be pointed at the main star signs. I don't know
Well,
if that means anything.
hmm.
Is it ringing any bells for you, Joy?
Omi, make me a history check, please. Exclamation mark history in chat. Five of 12. This is the thing, you can only point at 5 of them, and there are 12 major star signs, and those are only just one of a few. 5. Yeah. She's like, never really been into the stars, I'm afraid. I don't hold with astrology. I mean,
Right.
why would where a star sign is in the sky when the day you were born have anything to do with what you as a person turn out like? I know a girl who was born on the same day as me. We are nothing alike.
Yes. Some people put a lot of stock in it, though. If there's 12 of them and 12 star signs, then stands to reason that that's what they're pointed at, right?
But there aren't 12, there's 5. There are 5 telescopes.
Oh, I got confused. Sorry.
Yeah. I think chat was talking about 12. I never said 12.
Oh, okay. I don't.
No. No, there are 5 telescopes.
There are 5 telescopes. Do they seem to be like? They seem to be like. Are they arranged like pointing in all different directions, or are they all like pointing inwards or upwards or outwards?
There doesn't appear to be any particular rhyme or reason about the directions they are pointing in.
Right.
In fact, make me an investigation check regarding that question. Or no, straight intelligence. 10. It does occur to you that perhaps they're just pointing randomly. Because one of them didn't appear, like you don't know the star signs. Only 2 of them had whilst you recognized 2 star signs in them, one of them wasn't centered, it was just within what you could see through the telescope. The others were, the Sagittarius was fairly much in the middle of the star, in the middle of it, but yeah, the other 3 didn't appear to be, maybe you don't know the star signs well enough, but the other 3 didn't appear to be pointing at anything, particularly.
Is there any like books around?
Not in the planetarium, no.
What about
You
the
are
room we
you are
came-
literally on a hill. The room you were in before was basically a lab.
Right.
There were several benches for scientific experiments that sort of looked like a biology lab. There was books in there, not a lot, but more than a few.
Cool.
The noteworthy thing was the star map on the wall.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna nip back out and look at the map on the wall then.
Okay. Can I get someone else in chat? Smalltown and Omi are the main contributors at the moment. But if anybody else is here, then yeah. First person in chat to make me an investigation check on Joy's behalf is welcome to. Sorry, Karen, what were you doing?
I was going to go have a quick look at the map.
The map. Alrighty. Yeah, make me an investigation check on the map.
14.
Hey, that's not too bad. Okay, so coming back in, Thamior, throw me up an investigation check! ! Investigation in chat, please. You as you come back in, you have a look. This basically it's one whole wall is this huge star map above the door, and while most of the Lizelle did it. There we go. A 9. Not too bad. She's exploring the room and finds a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll get to it in a second. So the stars, most of the stars are represented by mere dots, and the star signs are sort of drawn out. In fact, all the constellations are there. However, you do notice with the 14, there are 5 bright stars that are rendered particularly prominently as blazing suns rather than just dots.
Right. And do they seem to be kind of forming any sort of shape?
Not a particular shape, and they're actually scattered fairly randomly across the pattern. Like the across the sweep of the night sky as depicted by the map. 3 of them, like 2 of them are quite close together, and a third is relatively near them, and then there's one far off on its own, and another near the door. So they're scattered somewhat randomly. Hey, Black Angel, good to see you.
Right. But theoretically, I could go back in there and point the telescopes at those stars.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to do that.
While you've been doing that, while you've been examining, I'd say it probably takes a couple of minutes to sort of figure this all out. Joy has been poking around through some cupboards, and she comes up with an interesting book. She says, "Oh, it's Mr. Mordenkainen." And she holds up a book with the same face as the book that you're holding, the big, thick tome that you're holding. But your book, her book rather, is quite thin. It appears to only have like about 40, 50 pages. It's more of a primer than an actual book. It's a book called Twilight. No, it's 50 Shades of Mordenkainen. And it's bound in leather. It's bound in the brown leather again. It's not as ornate or fancy, but it is... she's like... Huh. And she begins flicking through it. 50 Shades of Mordenkainen. Jokes on D. Thank you. She begins flicking through it. She goes... her brow furrows, and she goes... Oh, that's odd. Can't make heads or tails of it.
Do you mind if I have a look?
She passes it over. It's not written in common.
Do I recognize the language?
What languages do you speak?
Lemon Shack. Common, Dwarvish, Elven, and Orc.
You can read about a third of it. Because of those 3 languages. It is written in about, you would guess, at least 6 languages.
Oh my goodness.
Some of it is Dwarven, some of it is Elvish. Not much, but a little is Orc.
Do I get something in
Actually,
the gist?
I apologise. Orc doesn't have a written component. They write with Dwarven runes. So it is just in Orc. It is just in Dwarven and Elvish. And then about 4 other languages. One of them you recognise as Draconian, but you can't read it. Draconic, rather.
Am I getting anything like a gist of what?
It's spells.
Right.
Some of it is like spells, but spells that you don't think would work. For any more, I'd like an investigation check.
Do you think I can manage that? Yeah!
Yeah, I believe that's the case, Small Town. I believe that is actually like canon. That Orc doesn't have a written component. 24. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is a notebook. It is written in the hand of Fistandia. It is the same ink throughout. you would guess that this was all written on the same day. It's about 60 pages long. It has, and it is. It's not exactly a cipher. She alternates almost every 2 or 3 lines. She switches language.
Right.
Not because it would be far too much effort to, like, you suspect it would be really awkward to write in a cipher, but if you're just writing loads of different languages that you happen to speak but other people don't, it would just make it a pig to translate.
It would indeed make it a pig to translate.
And you know how when you write you get tired over time? Like if you read an exam paper that you wrote in 3 hours, the first part would be quite neat and tidy, and then as you got tired, you would get less tidy.
Yeah. Totally.
This does not suffer from that. This is the same script the whole way through.
Wow, okay.
60 pages, and in quite neat, tiny handwriting. Like, it would take... For you, it would take the best part of 20 minutes to write a page like that. Some of it is ideas for spell formulae, some of it is just had a biscuit, that sort of a Dear Diary sort of thing. And it appears to be about, you would guess, maybe 3 weeks worth of notes, but it all you get this feeling that it was all written on the same day.
Right.
And on the spine, and this is the only other thing that you get, is the letter T. It is not otherwise noted at all, not otherwise named, or there is not an author listed. Mordenkainen's face is on the front in gold leaf, and then there is a gold leaf letter T on the spine. And Joy says, "Any joy?" Sorry, I didn't mean that to be a joke.
No,
I get that it could be.
It was amusing. It's written in a whole lot of different languages, so it's not exactly easy to read. I can't really make it. It seems to be some type of notebook.
Oh.
Like someone's notes that they were keeping.
The handwriting does look like Fistandia's. And the covers is like exactly the same as that book.
It is. Can I flick through it and just something like how to get out, the way out?
I'll let your Nat 20 investigation come through. No, is the answer. It doesn't make any specific references to keys, no.
Okay.
Small done creepy. I mean, would Josh throw a Tarask at his wife's character in a one-on-one game? Not a level 3 character.
Well, since this star map seems to highlight these 5 points, I was thinking we could try pointing the telescopes at them.
She's like, oh, okay. Great
I don't know
idea.
if it'll do anything, but, we can give it a try.
Can't hurt. You do that.
Thinking.
Okay, yeah, you do that.
Yeah.
You go in. So I will get this to be... She will help you, so you get advantage on this check, which I would say... Oh, Arcana.
Arcana?
Arcana with advantage. Crit! Slam those nat 20s up in chat as well. We have, of course, as Cove has nat 20s now. Daria did them for us, and they're rather good. I quite like them.
Making up for my shitty rolls earlier.
Yeah, alrighty. You nail this. She does a couple of them, but you do the other 3, and then you correct one of hers just a little bit. You nail this. So, what happens is, as the fifth one finally gets pointed, the light from the stars above forms a beam and shoots down to the telescopes. Each one, you didn't notice this before, you didn't notice this deliberately, but the eye lens of each telescope points at the gem, the crystal ball in the middle. So basically, the light beams down through the telescope and redirects into this crystal ball. It would have been impossible to figure out exactly what they were pointing at to achieve this effect, however, without the map. So, yeah. The beams all hit this crystal ball and redirect down into the floor. And then a doorway on the far side of the room opens. Of the planetarium. It was invisible before, and now there's a click and as it opens just a tiny amount.
Okay. And can like, is there light coming through the door? Is there light?
Soft light.
Soft light. Okay. I'm gonna kind of beckon for Joy to come and kind of join me so we can go together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll grab her hand.
Very well. Yeah, you do that.
And walk carefully over to the door, but I'm not going to touch it just yet. I'm going to try and peer through the little chink.
All right. This is... all right, make me a perception check.
Because it's... Holy that's 3 in a row!
Wow!
That's crazy. That's crazy. What the hell?
Wow. Okay. I'm just going to check the location of the things in this room, just to make absolutely certain. Yeah, okay. Through the crack in the door, it appears to be a dusty library. The wall that you can see, which is the far left wall, so the door is creaked in this way so you can just look in and see the left-hand wall, is floor-to-ceiling bookshelves.
Right.
Actually, it is floor-to-ceiling bookshelves that are empty. And dusty. The floor is also quite dusty.
Right.
With a nat 20. You cannot hear anything. My favorite word, petrichor. The room's slightly damp, and you get that petrichor, that smell of dust after rain, which is what petrichor technically means. But yeah, it's moist dust.
Okay. I'm gonna carefully push the door open.
You do that.
I'm not going in yet, just to be absolutely clear. I'm just opening the door.
Love it. You do that. The door swings open. The room is bare, except for... the walls are all bookshelves, but only in the center of the room is a bookshelf that actually has books on it. The room is bare except for this bookshelf covered in chains against the central wall. A plain wooden bench and a reading desk built into the shelves in front of the chains. A book with the bust of the same mage again, presumably Mr. Mordenkainen, sits on the desk. All the other shelves are empty and dusty.
Right, I'm going to keep holding on to Joy's hand, and I'm going to walk towards the book.
Very well.
Desk that it's on.
So the bookshelf has 3 sets of shelves that are filled with books, bound in iron covers, which are attached to the chains that secure themselves to the shelves, or secured rather to the shelves. It is a chained library. Hey, Castellan, good to see you.
It's like...
Basically, it's not as creepy as it sounds. It's so people can't take the books and leave.
Yes, I know, but part of me can't help but think
It's like, this is
why
fucked
the
up.
books changed up?
Yeah, there is other reasons for doing that. This chained library has been enchanted. And that it becomes immediately apparent because it's not dusty. Everything else is. There is a book on the desk. It's brown leather. It's got a gold gilt cover with a picture of Mr. Mordenkainen on it. Oh, well, you're very welcome, Castellan. Good to see you. We are playing one-on-one D&D.
So it's a different book, but it has the same picture on it.
Yes. And I'll let your nat 20 perception. The letter on the spine is L.
L.
There is a single letter L in gold on the spine.
Right. I'm going to open the book. I'm not picking it up. I'm just flicking it open.
Okay. Can you roll me initiative, please?
Oh no! Am I about to get attacked by a kitchen golem because I touched the book?
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
I feel like you would, though.
Maybe 7. Later. 7. Noted. All right. Castellan, can you roll me a d20 in chat, please? ! roll space 20, and one from Black Angel as well. I need one from both of you. Castellan, you'll be rolling for the chained library, and Black Angel 7. Castellan, that's good because the chained library has a -1 deck, so you get to go first, Karen. And Black Angel will be rolling for the. We'll be rolling for Joy, who is standing right next to you, looking terrified. An 11. Joy gets to go first. Joy leaps backwards as this thing reacts to your presence, but she doesn't really know what to do. I'm going to say that Joy prepares an action. She seems to be sort of getting ready. In fact, no, what Joy does is she claps her hands together and then pats herself on her chest and stomach, and you can see a shimmery, translucent shield forms over herself. She has cast mage armor on herself.
Oh, good for her.
She goes, "What do we do?" And yeah, this chained library is sort of leaping towards you, sort of. It's yeah. What do you do? You have a round. You get to go first.
I'm going to back up and say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I was just trying to find the way out. Don't mean any harm."
Very well. How far back up do you back up?
Level with Joy. I'm not going to abandon her.
You're at the door then.
Okay.
All right. You can try to make me a persuasion check if you like.
Yes. Let's see if I can persuade the crazy books. 18, maybe?
Right, yeah. Let me just check. It has no languages, I'm afraid. It doesn't speak. It doesn't understand words, I'm afraid. So, it is completely pitiless. And it is going to attack you both.
Fantastic.
And I'll get chat to roll this, because it's fun. So Omi and Small Town Creepy, can you both roll me ! Roll space 20, please?
Nice and low, please, guys. I don't want to die.
So the first one will be against Beryl here, and the second will be against Joy. A 1 on the dice from Small Town Creepy. So Beryl, it does not hit you. A book with it like attached to a chain flies off the shelf, the steel spine arcing towards your head, but you sort of dodge to the side and the book retracts and pulls back onto the shelf. We got a 10 on the dice plus 4 4. 14 equals beats. This one clocks Joy on the head, on the noggin. And it does... Oh dear. It does 1d8 damage. I've rolled max. Great. 10 bludgeoning damage. And, she is... And the chain sort of wraps itself around her as her arms are compressed to her sides. And Joy squeaks as this thing attacks her. And you hear this, "Ah! Help! Beryl!" Blunt force trauma to the noggin, exactly. Squeak. Yes. Do we really need Joy though? Exactly. Small town creepy. It's Joy's turn, fortunately. So we'll get Castellan. Can you roll me another? This is to break free and escape thing for Joy, please. The escape DC is 12. 18. Joy has a -1 and manages to wriggle free of this and sort of dodges behind you. Probably made easier by the slippery qualities of mage armor. She sort of greases herself out and dodges behind you and actually nips out the door. She then, over your shoulder, and I'm going to roll this one because I want to roll some attack dice. She fires a fireball at this thing. She sort of reaches out over your shoulder. Her hand just passes past your shoulder. She's using you as a human shield. She fires a fireball. This thing has an armor class of 14. I rolled a 10 plus 4 to hit. 14. 14s are what we need, apparently. Small Town Creepy, if you'd like to roll 1d10 in chat, that's the fire damage this thing takes. It's unfortunately not vulnerable to fire, but it's not resistant. Always bring lube. Roll d10. A 2. All right. The thing takes 2 fire damage. Beryl. You were about 10 feet away from this chained library that is sort of clumping towards you, and this kid is hiding behind you, pretty terrified, with valid reason. She looks quite badly hurt as well. She's swaying a little bit on her feet.
I wonder if sleep works on books.
Give it a go.
Yeah, I'm going to cast sleep on it.
Nice. All right. Okay. So the spell sleep knocks out a certain amount of hit points. So make it is technically a construct. So let me just look up whether or not sleep works on constructs. Creatures into a magical slumber. Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose within range are affected in ascending order of their total hit points. It's creatures, I'm afraid, I would say, and creatures that are immune to being charmed aren't affected by that spell. You would know that, and you would probably guess that a chained library is immune to being charmed. It would probably be a fair inference.
I wonder what heat metal would do.
Well, it's covered in metal. It's got loads of metal bits on it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't really want to set it on fire.
That's a good idea, though. Much better.
Well, sod it then. I'll cast heat metal.
Very well. Massive property damage. I mean, cook the book. You do that. Cast heat metal. Roll them bones. See how much... Because it's not really it's just it happens. It's not a roll to attack, is it? You can see the metal. You heat it. So 2d8... 8... Is that it? Is that all it does?
8 points of damage.
Oh, yeah, and then you can keep doing it every round. That's right. 8 points of damage. Okay, very nice. It takes 8 points of fire damage. Yeah, there you go. Cool. You do that.
Does it react to? That
Yeah.
damage
It.
in there?
Where exactly did you target? There are loads of metal bits on it. Several of the shelves, like the outer lining of the shelves, are made of metal. The chains are all obviously made of metal. Most of the books have metals. Well, all the books have metal spines. The books themselves, however, are books. So paper and wood. But yeah, the spines themselves to attach to those books are metal. So there's a fair amount of metal on it.
Can I just generally cast it, or do I have to pick a specific spot?
Just because it's a large thing, so it takes up a 10-foot cube. So it's actually like you have to pick a. I'm just curious. I was just trying to paint a picture.
Okay, probably the spines of the books then.
Okay, so you select several spines of books and heat them up. They glow, and the books behind them seem to smoke with the heat. And its reaction to that is to fling the books at you, unless you move.
Yeah. I guess so. If they start throwing books at me, I'm going to try and...
the books are on chains is the trick, so I have a maximum range.
Oh, right. Well, I'll try and get out of range then.
So yeah, you would back up into the planetarium.
Yeah.
I would allow you to usher Joy behind you. Yeah.
This is going well.
Yeah. So the library can't get through the door. It's too narrow for the chained library to exit. So it gets to the door, and then it looks like it uses a couple of its chained books to slam the door closed.
Well, I feel like the books don't like being disturbed. Are you okay?
And she's sort of dabbing at her forehead with a handkerchief. She has a nasty cut on her brow.
Right. Oh, sorry. Should I heal it?
You're not in danger currently. You could just short rest it.
I was kind of hoping that would be the way out.
It had a book on it, though. It had a book like mine. Like this one. And she's still holding the notebook.
Yes. I wonder. This would be a lot easier if they just had put a sign somewhere that said, "This is the key. Poke this and you can go home."
Wizards, right?
Quite. And if she disappeared through the planetarium, then it makes sense that this is the place where you would get out. But all there is a whole bunch of angry books. It's not much of a key.
Yeah. She says, maybe the books aren't the key. Maybe the books are a door. The door's in there, but the key might not be.
Can I open the door a crack and look in?
No, the door is sealed again. The door has been closed.
Right. Are the telescopes still in position?
No. The telescopes appear to have swiveled.
Right.
Randomly. Just. In fact, you may, because there's a couple of them are still gently moving. It would seem that when the door is closed, the telescopes immediately just sort of swivel off with a fair amount of energy. Yeah. Fucking wizards with their big brains. Wizard golem, big brain.
Right. I am going to go back and look at the map of the stars again.
Oh yeah, sure.
Does anything kind of stand out to me the way the 5 stars did originally?
I think this would be a straight intelligence.
15.
Not bad. So yeah, you're looking for new information from the map.
Yes,
That
basically.
you
Is
nat
that like
20'd before. I'm afraid there isn't. Well, lovely having you, Castellan. Thanks for hanging out, buddy. Have a good night, mate. Castellan, for those of you who don't know, is the editor and DM of There Be Dragons, the logo of which is above Karen's head. So yeah, very, very gifted and talented DM. Actually, my first DM, put it that way. The guy whom I learned from. So
this is all Castellan's
it's
fault.
Dead set. He was the one who introduced me to D&D. This is literally all Castellan's fault. We need to get him on the channel.
I'm spending my Monday night trying to work out how to open a door.
We need to get Castellan on the channel. Hey, Karen. Stop. Yeah. Yeah, Castellan taught me to be a bastard. I learned so much from him on that front. Alrighty. Yeah, Castellan is the guy who has to put up with Sken Felspar. Und his little dragon, Crush.
All right.
Cool. Alrighty.
I'm going to go back in and realign the telescopes to the 5 stars to open the door to the book room again.
Yeah, I'm afraid, to answer your question, nothing more jumps out at you, really.
Right. Well, I'm going to go back and try and open the door again.
See you, Castellan. Alrighty, yeah, you do that. The door does reopen. You can hear movement from the inside. I'll let your heightened senses and that nat 20 perception before carry over. Yes, you hear something clumping around.
I'm going to have a little sneaky peek through the crack of the door. Hopefully without
the library does not appear to react to you. But it's definitely there. The book, interestingly, like, it moved a lot. I was like, you know when you move, you know what, like, maybe not you, but when I move a book, like a wardrobe on my own, and I sort of walk it over to a room, that. It doesn't really flex and bend particularly, it just sort of clump across as a room.
So the books aren't moving anymore. They've settled? Or they're still kind of...
It has moved itself back to where it was. Make me another perception check, actually. It is moving itself back to where it was. Let's put it that way. Also, your heat metal is still going.
Oh, right.
If you want it to be.
So if it was still going, because I haven't consciously ended it, does it go if I lose focus?
Yeah, if you get hit, you lose concentration on it, but you haven't said you stopped, so I'm happy for it. You can still keep hurting this thing as a bonus action every 6 seconds. You could just stand outside the door and kill it from outside the door.
I think I would have stopped it when I left the room.
Okay, alright.
So I would no longer be burning it.
Yeah, cool. A 7 perception, you notice the book... the book with a single L on the spine is still on the on it, and oddly, given how much it's been moving, that book has not moved.
I'm going to push the door open. Do the books react?
It does not. It is about 15 feet across the room from you, but I'll say your passive insight is high enough that you do feel like it is watching you. There's a bit of a glare. Distinct, and it's probably just your imagination. You're getting distinct fuck off vibes from this library.
So the area with the books, that's the only non-dusty bit in the room.
Yeah. There is now scratch marks in the floor, though, in the dust.
Right. Is there a part, like a bit of bare wall in the room?
Without sticking a part of you in, you can't tell for sure, but you don't think so.
So it's just all empty bookshelves.
Yeah, but bookshelf. The wall that you haven't really seen the wall that you're looking, that the door is in, because you're looking through it. But yeah, the other 3 walls are all shelves that are empty, except for the bookshelf that moves that is not.
Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna try and just sneak a peek at the wall the door is on.
It appears to be flat. It doesn't have shelves on it.
Right.
But it's also not ornamented at all. In fact, you know where all the other walls have been wood paneling to sort of ribs And then above it's been plaster. This is just plaster.
Can I look down at the floor, please?
Yes. It is wood. There are no rugs. It is dusty, but wooden. You could see in like where your footprints and the scratch marks of the library moving reveal it to be polished, but like not recently. The housekeepers don't come in here, as they've told you.
Can I do an Arcana check on the floor, please?
Sure.
11.
I'll give you this because what exactly are you looking for?
Sigils.
Yes, I'll give it to you then. Yeah, you recognize about half of it sticking out from under the library. The same one that was on the floor in the bedroom.
So is it close to me, or is it over near the...
It's over by the library.
Over by the mad books?
Yeah. It's sort of sticking half out from under the desk part of the library. It looks... You know these stand-up pianos?
Oh, an upright piano.
Yeah, an upright piano, yeah. It's about that shape. The upright bit would be the bookshelves, and then there's a desk sticking out from it with a built-in chair. It's all integral. Yeah, just from sticking out from underneath the chair part is the sigil.
Right.
And the reason it sticks out to you is because the dust is adhering to it.
Can I look around and see if there's any others? Can I spot any more?
That's the only one you can spot, but you guess that the others would be obscured by the library. Like, given their positions on the wall where you planted them, the library is 10 foot wide and 10 high.
Right. So I'd have to move the bookshelves.
You have to move the library.
The one that just tried to kill me?
Yes.
So this is not a entity I can communicate with at all?
Not in the language you've tried.
Would I know the race of the cleric?
Fistandia was a human.
She was human, right.
She was actually a Rensman.
Okay.
Wrens being the nation Gretz is in, for those of us just joining us.
Does Wrens have its own language?
Common.
Okay.
I mean, it does have its own language, but that is common.
Would there be a language more associated with kind of magic and magical abilities?
Several, yes. Primordial?
Which I don't speak.
Nope. The elves are notable magical practitioners. Elvish was certainly one of the languages Fistandia spoke.
Okay. I'm going to try Elvish and be like, "Excuse me, library."
Roll me an insight.
17.
Hey.
Not terrible.
Yeah, the library is listening. And almost like you can feel the aggression in the room drop a notch.
I'll register this, take a deep breath, and be like, "I'm terribly sorry for touching you without permission earlier."
Less aggression, possibly. It is functionally an inanimate object. It doesn't have many ways to communicate. It doesn't seem to be able to talk itself.
Okay. Am I still kind of feeling animosity towards me, I suppose?
A little bit. No, not animosity, no. It seems more curious. Like what you might say next.
I mean you no harm.
You say that in Elvish?
Yes.
And Joy next to you says, I think it's listening to you.
I hope
What
so.
are you saying?
I'm telling it that I don't want to hurt it.
In what language?
Elvish.
Oh. Well, the books were written in loads of languages, right?
Yes.
Maybe try another one.
And I'll swap to Dwarvish
Okay.
and be like, we're trying to find the sigils.
Make me a persuasion check, please.
I'm trying to convince a book.
It's
13? Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one.
It's still 11. Should be better than that. It's an 11 plus, I think, 3 at least. It's a +4. I'll take what you rolled though. 11 plus 4, 15. Yeah. The bookshelf. It feels grumpy, but it does sort of conk to the side. It pretty much just shifts itself along the wall 10 feet.
Oh, wow. So, can I see more sigils now?
Yes, you can make them out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, may we come in?
What language?
Still Dwarvish.
You don't get any response, but you're not feeling animosity from this thing.
Well, it wasn't a no. And I'm going to take a small step inside the room.
The library does not move.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to go a little closer, and I'll go back to Elvish for that one.
Yep, sure. It doesn't react.
Okay. And I'm going to take a few steps over to where I think the sigils are going to be.
Sure. You do that. And nothing happens.
Okay. This is promising. And I'm just going to I'm going to sprinkle some salt on the sigil on the floor.
Yeah, the salt sort of like when you put powdered iron on a magnet. That, yeah. That.
All right.
If anything, it's easier here.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to just kind of do the rest of them.
Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Same deal. Sup, 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 sup.
Salt Bay style, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, Joy, could you come hold my hand, please?
Yeah, she does so.
Because, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm about to do, and I'd like us to stay together if possible. Okay?
Can I do it?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Light her up.
Joy points her finger at one of the sigils, the one on the floor, underneath your feet. A jet of fire, well, not a jet, but like a little spark of fire, leaps from her fingertip, hits the sigil, and nothing happens.
Well, that's disappointing. Was there another step to it when you came through originally?
To open the door, no. This should have worked.
Okay. Can I do an Arcana check on kind of the circle of sigils?
Yep.
Ooh. 23.
Okay. The sigils appear magical. They seem to be doing what they're supposed to do, but you also get a magic vibe off the book that Joy is holding, the one with T on the spine. And actually, there's another book in this room that you get a similar vibe off, and it's the one on the desk with the L on the spine.
E and L. Or L and T. Hard to know which way. Hmm.
Can you make me an intelligence check? Your arcana was very good. Siri. Nice! Alright.
That's what, 420s? That's ridiculous.
Then I will
Not
tell
that I'm
you this.
complaining.
I will give you this then. You recall that the telescopes reset once the door was closed, and that there was a mechanism in the room with the exit for closing the door, as in the animated bookshelf can close the door and then put itself back where it's supposed to be to hide the exit. It occurs to you that if the telescopes move themselves back to a different space, so it's not obvious what to point them at, and the door closes itself, and the library repositions itself to make it hard to find the exit, then the key to the exit might also not be right at the exit. Might have in fact scattered itself throughout the house. That coupled with your 23 Arcana, you think that these books are part of, but not all of, the key.
Right. 'Cause that would just be too easy, wouldn't it? Can you think of a word that has T and L in it and that might have something to do with this place?
Let me out.
Look, you might be right.
She says it dead seriously at the wall.
I assume it has no reaction to that.
No. No, it does not.
Damn it. Okay. So that was the book that I touched earlier and it went batshit, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't exactly want to touch it again.
No, and I'll let your intelligence check, your Arcana check rather, from before carry over. You would guess, given that this is a magical object, you almost think that book is part of it. It didn't move. It's attached.
Joy, could you put that book you're holding down on top of that other book? Carefully.
Joy approaches and mutters, "Sorry," and puts the book down on top of the other book.
Anything?
And then looks at you. I don't think so.
Okay. Can I do an Arcana check to kind of, I suppose, see if the magical energy has changed?
I'll let the original come through. No, it doesn't look like it's changed. They're both still magical, but nothing else though.
I don't suppose, Joy, you've seen more of these books around the house.
Omi, make me a history check for Joy.
How observant is Joy?
When she's not looking for something a bit weird and very specific. 10. Not hugely. She goes, maybe? Not so that I've noticed, I'm afraid. There are a lot of books in this house. As in, I've read probably 30, and I've barely scratched the surface.
All right, then.
If I noticed one before, I probably wouldn't... Like, if I just opened one, I probably wouldn't have read it because they're not... Well, that one's not in common.
No, it's not.
But I don't remember any with Mr. Mordenkainen's face on it. We could go look, though.
I think we might have to. Because I feel like that might be the key.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of making an educated guess here, but I'm getting like a magical feeling off these books, and something's missing.
Yeah.
And the fact that these two, they have different letters on them, so maybe they spell out something like "let me out" or
Yeah.
"lemon tomato." I don't know.
I hope it's not that long.
No, that would take a
We
while
have
to
to find a
all
lot
of
of
them.
books.
So, yeah, let us hope it's something nice and short.
Okay. Yeah, let's hope that. Sure. Well, I guess we could maybe ask Cumin and Coriander if they've spotted any.
Are they gonna be annoyed that you picked that book up?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
we could put it back. We could just leave it there. We know where it is.
yeah, let's.
We'll
leave
have to
that
come
one
back through the laboratory to get here.
Yeah, so we can find it again. That's not a problem. Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's put that one back.
Yeah.
And see if we can find any more of them. And hopefully, once we've found a few more letters, we'll know what kind of word it's spelling out, if that is indeed what it's doing. Because it's entirely possible that I'm wrong, Joy.
Well, this is the best idea I've had in a long time.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Right. And I'll thank the bookcase and be like, we're going to come back in a little while, okay?
It moves back in front of the sigils.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. And, yeah. Interestingly, Joy has not dropped mage armor.
Look, at this point, I don't blame her at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's leave nice and smooth like, okay?
You do that. And I think we'll leave it there for the evening. Let's have a music change.
Ooh, that
Well
was a bit
done.
stressful, I don't mind saying.
So, for those of you who haven't read it yet, I am doing a thing from Candlekeep Mysteries. I have modified it slightly. I've modified the beginning bit, essentially. But yeah, I'm actually using... this is the first time I've ever run a module written by the Wizards of the Coast. Thought I'd give that a go. So yeah, that is in Candlekeep Mysteries. If you want to skip to the end, I don't know why you would.
No spoilers. Hashtag
Yeah.
no spoilers.
But yeah, so Beryl and Joy, we will come back to them next week. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, everybody. Thanks to Serum for his amazing work behind the scenes. He hasn't done anything towards this, but he's generally helped me set up the channel in the first place. And
He's
if I
done
don't
other
thank
stuff.
him, he gives me shit. And thanks to Karen for all her love and support and getting this, this was actually her idea. This whole one-shot, the 1v1 thing was Karen's thing.
I set myself up for this.
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed it.
No, it has been fun. I am curious, shall we say.
And thanks for coming and playing. Now, thank you also to our lovely audience for tuning back in and bearing with us. While we've been away, it's been a trying few months. We've moved house. We've done a fringe festival that was an interesting experience. Everybody involved would agree. Yeah, it was not as lucrative as it normally is. Let's put it that way.
We came out of it all right.
Yeah, well, we did. Yeah. Now,
A lot of other people didn't though.
yeah. As always, we're gonna do favorite moments. I know there's only two of us, but we've also got chat. So chat, throw up your favorite moments. And Karen, what was your favorite self moment? What do you think you did real good?
I loved doing the thing I was explicitly told not to by the two golems, and then immediately getting a bunch of books just flinging themselves at me.
It was really, really fun to have that. I was just like, most of the other things in this house, that would be fine, but not that one. Not that, but...
I found the one thing in the house that would actually have some thoughts about being told.
Oh, not the one thing. There are several things, but this is
okay.
the first room you've been in that would have some strong opinions about you interacting with it against its permission. Yeah.
Consent is important.
Without wanting to spoil too much, yeah. The chained library is in the book. It's a really fun thing. Yeah. What about your my favorite Karen moment? I really enjoyed your interaction very early on with with Jasper and his granny. That was really cute. You really put me on the spot, like, hey, tell me about Gretz. And I was like, it felt like a bloody Mass Effect style. Tell me about this thing. Tell me about that thing. Tell me about that thing that you told me about before. And I was like, fuck, all right, yeah, I know lots about Gretz. Let me regurgitate it in an accent that I've deliberately gotten rid of. Yeah, that was fun for me. I really enjoyed that interaction, and yeah. I also really liked the way you dealt with Chubb and his deceiving you. Yeah, I actually genuinely felt like I was having to convince you to do this thing. And he felt really bad about it. He's like, yeah, but I also wanted, like, you were recommended as the best person for this job, and I wanted you rather than the next best. I'm sorry, I misled your nose. Yeah, I felt genuinely bad about it.
Look, she briefly entertained the notion of not helping, just out of kind of irritation, because she's been trying really hard to build her reputation as a bard, you know?
Yeah. And he does genuinely want to hear her play. But he also wants his daughter back, and it would be great for him if he could hear you play while his daughter's there also listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she basically was playing a bit hard to get.
He's definitely organizing a dinner party now. Like, that's what he's doing while you're in here. He is ferreting out the correct way to contact a wizard who specializes in extraplanar spaces, and also organizing for a group of his close friends, maybe some of Joy's friends. You've put it in his mind that I'll get Joy's friends to come over with their parents. We'll have like a dinner date with several of the other merchants and their daughters. That'll be fun, and Beryl can play for us then, and I'll pay her 100 gold pieces, and it'll be totally worth it. He feels really bad about it. Yeah.
Probably didn't need to lay on the guilt that thick then.
Yeah, no. Chat, what are your... Throw up some favorite moments in chat. And Karen, what was... Or I suppose I should do my favorite moment, shouldn't I?
What's your favorite DM moment?
My favorite DM moment was I pretty much made up what the homunculi look like on the fly. That description is not in the book. They are there. They are in the book, cumin and coriander. But I made up what they look like, and I'm pretty happy with it.
That was pretty cool. And a bit creepy.
Oh, super creepy. And I hadn't thought about how they sounded. I was like, oh fuck, what did they sound like? Yes, hello. Yeah. Those homunculi were great. Thank you. Yeah. I was quite fond of those two. Nogeri. Yeah, what do you think I did well, Karen? Your favorite me moment?
Oh. Sorry, I'm trying to narrow it down mentally. My brain just keeps coming up with new things instead of narrowing down. I suppose I enjoyed most things. I suppose I really liked how you kind of described like the personality of the bookshelf. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it reacted to things, and you know, it's not like a smart or like it's not like alive per se, but it's capable of being reasoned with, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I yeah. And doing that on the fly.
You managed to give it a personality, even while it was not really a person or a creature.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, splendid. That was a very quick favourite moments, but an enjoyable one. Thank you. Yeah, I was quite happy with that. And I did not know you'd get there that quickly as well. I was like, they'll probably explore the lower floor first, and then they'll go upstairs later, because they know they're not really supposed to go there. So they'll sneak up. And I was like, nope, we went to the planetarium, like, second room we investigated.
Good luck, I suppose.
Alrighty. Well,
I randomly picked left or right, and picked right. So if I'd picked wrong, this
you nailed it.
Yeah. Oh.
There we go. Alrighty, well, guys, thank you so much for watching along with us this evening. I hope you've had fun. If you've enjoyed, please chuck us a follow and check out our socials and our YouTube. Put the socials up there and the U of the tube there. I will be putting up the last couple of missed episodes. So there's a Humblewood one-shot that was on a charity stream on Roll for Damage last year. That will be going up soon. And we'll slap these up as well. Why not? They're good fun. We have missed you guys too. It has been a hot minute since we actually came and played D&D. I will be back tomorrow night playing Warhammer Total War. And then we will be also back on Thursday evening for Humblewood. It will be happening this week. We super promise. Don't
jinx it. Otherwise we'll all get COVID before Thursday.
Yeah, Lux was very apologetic, but Lux was not very well last week, and that's fair. So we'll be back to find out what the hell happened to Javier. And then I will also be on Phoenixy Wacky next week for Deadlands Coffin Rock, and Monday night on Roll for Damage for the Sagas of Skringard finale, which we will then raid over to here. Unfortunately, Doom Donkey was ill this week, so we did not stream today, but we'll do it tomorrow instead. Next week, rather. And we'll also work out what raid time, probably around 8. Omi. It's the season finale, so I don't know when it'll happen, really. But whenever it happens, it happens. But around about 8 o'clock our time, so the time we started this evening. The time right now is 11:25 AWST. Quarter to midnight, about half an hour to midnight. Please chuck us a follow and head on over to our YouTube and chuck us a sub over there as well. That would be awesome and lovely of you. We also are supporting Ukraine, the people of Ukraine specifically, and are specifically the people who have been displaced by the war. There are about 8 million of them who have been displaced from their homes in the course of this war, and the Ukrainian emergency appeal is helping those people out. So any pennies you have to throw their way, please follow the link in chat and donate what you can, because those people are doing it rough. We know what it's like to be in danger of being homeless. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So
and our home wasn't even at risk of being blown up.
Yeah, no, we just had a dickhead landlord who wasn't letting us live there anymore. Guys, been an absolute pleasure. Karen, tell me who the heck you are.
I am Karen. I am a writer. I'm a performer. You can follow me on Twitter as the Mother of Bunnies. Well, just Mother of Bunnies. You can lose it there. I'm also on Instagram as my burlesque alter ego, Miss Lola Moore. You can also hear my dulcet tones in the There Be Dragons podcast. Link in chat. You still haven't used the joke, Karen.
What joke?
What joke, Omi? Is this something obvious I can't remember? Well, while I wait for Omi to tell me what the joke is, I'm supposed to be... thanks for watching. I'll be back on Thursday. The whole Josh ask me who I am again.
Karen, who the heck are you and what are you doing in my house?
I am your wife.
I am the greatest good you ever gonna get.
I am your wife. Occasionally I even act like it.
Sometimes, very rarely. Basically at weddings.
And yes, I'll be back on Thursday to play a different character alongside Javier as we find out what he's been up to while me and Eric were crashing a wedding and generally making a spectacle of ourselves.
Jesus Christ. Eric just straight up murdered a guy. Trish was very hypocritical. I watched it again today I was like, oh my god, this thing is nuts. Anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, madame and monsieur, dama and heron, and beings of indeterminate gender or persuasion, I be Josh the Pirate. And I be your humble DM and storyteller for this evening. Yeah, I do a bunch of stuff here on the internet webs, but you can also check out my face and voice on TV. Actually, I'm in an advert at the moment. That's pretty cool. And maybe another one. Depends on whether or not another guy gets COVID or not. I'm backup cast.
But like, we don't want anyone to get COVID, but
I do sort of want that guy a bit, because it's $4,500. It'd be nice. I'm also in the comedy puppet duo, the Pupperotica. I'm part of the There Be Dragons podcast. If you want more of my voice, but you think you could stand to tone the face down a bit, where I play the infamous and deadly pirate Scan, Felspar, und his little dragon, Hrosh. Links, as we say, in chat. Guys, it's been super lovely hanging out with you this evening. Eldritch Scribe just stopped streaming. Damn it. Well, we will raid Agent Number 1, because they're the friend I've got who is still live. Guys, throw up your favorite raid emotes in chat. Tell Agent where you came from. Spread the love like we always do. And we will see you hopefully tomorrow night. Come hang out tomorrow night. We will raid Agent. He's playing Crusader Kings 3. Agent was a player in the first D&D game I ever played on Twitch. And he's a lovely guy. So yeah, go and show him the love. And we'll see you very, very soon. Guys, Karen, say goodbye. Bye, everybody. See you right now.
And all the guys.